Mets starting to play some good baseball. 7 wins in 10 games for Mike Piazza and company as they prepare to face the first-place Phils. Hi, everyone. Dave Revson in our Major League Baseball studios. So glad you made us part of your holiday plans. We have a tremendous day of baseball coming up for you on the ESPN family of networks. Let's take a quick look at what we've got. After this game at 4 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2, most of you will see Colorado against LA, Angels and Devil Rays for the rest of you. Then at 7, it's the Yankees and Red Sox, top 2 teams in the AL East, or the White Sox and the Blue Jays. On ESPN, great matchup between Barry Bonds and Randy Johnson as Arizona takes on San Francisco at 4. And it's the Expos and the Braves at 7:30 for most of you. Some will see the Marlins and the Pirates. And don't forget everything that's going on in baseball. Brian Kenny and Peter Gammons will be on ESPN at 3:30 Eastern time with baseball tonight, including, as you can see, the return of Mark McGwire back in the Cardinals lineup playing first base and batting second against the Brewers today. Now we're going to take you, though, out to Shea Stadium. And to do that, here are Dave Ryan and Orel Hershiser.
Dave, thank you. Memorial Day at Shea Stadium means the start of summer is almost here, plus a large military presence to see the first meeting of the year with the division-leading Phillies and the surging New York Mets. It's amazing to think that a year ago this time the Phils were on their way to last place in the NL East. The Mets would go on to finish a game behind the Braves, take the wild card all the way to the World Series. But this year it's much different. The Phillies, the only team in the division with a winning record, a big lead over the second place Braves. The Mets coming on, still 9 games back. Hello again, everyone. So glad you could join us from Shea Stadium today. Dave Ryan alongside Orel Hershiser. The Phillies, not very impressive, Orel, offensively. Not a lot of leaders in the top 5 in the National League categories, but pitching has been a key.
Well, pitching is the key, and the man on the mound today who started off slow, Randy Wolf, he is the man on the mound that needs to command both sides of the plate. He needs to get his breaking ball over. He started off slow this year, and those are the things that he improved on. And if you talk to him after an 11-9 rookie season last year that was very, very solid, he needs to be aggressive and throw strikes.
After a dreadful start to the season, Orel, the Mets are coming on. They've won 6 of 9, took 3 of 4 from the Marlins over the weekend. Maybe Mike Piazza's coming on.
Well, Mike Piazza is the key. He is the man. When you think of the Mets, you think of Mike Piazza. And if Mike Piazza goes, the Mets go. The pitching has been suspect at times. It's been nicked up with injuries. They've got Al Leiter on the mound today. We're going to see if Mike's hot bat, if it continues to go and thrive, I think the Mets can get back out of this thing.
And Orel, since Al Leiter has come off the disabled list after his elbow problems, he's been brilliant. 2-0, so he is Mike Piazza's battery mate as they take on the Philadelphia Phillies from Shea Stadium in Queens when we come back here on ESPN2. Memorial Day Baseball from New York. Today. Larry Boa very pleased with his team, likes the scrappiness of them, how they come back continually and never give up. And here's his lineup, starting with Doug Landell.
Well, you look at this lineup, and it is a lineup that hasn't produced an awful lot of runs for the Phillies, but the guy right here, Pat Burrell, has got a very quick bat. It's going to be interesting to see how he matches up against Al Leiter today, the starter for the Mets. This guy's the sky's the limit as far as potential. He's got great power, great speed, and he's starting to swing a hot bat.
Al Leiter, as we mentioned a moment ago, coming off the elbow problems, has been very good since then. A strained flexor tendon in his left elbow. But after that, he has been perfect. 2-0 and has gone deep into games as well. That's a good sign for Bobby Valentine, the manager of the New York Mets, as they try to make their comeback after a rough start and put them in last place for a while in the National League East. And we talked with Larry Boa before the game about how important this series is head-to-head with the New York Mets, one of the powers in the National League.
Well, this is probably going to be a measuring stick for us. You know, we played Atlanta, which we caught them when they were down a little bit, and then we did all right against them. But the Mets are playing better right now, so this should be a measuring stick for us. Obviously, the 2 teams that beaten our division are the Mets and the Braves. Regardless of where the standings are right now, we know they've been there, they've done that, and we're sort of the new kids on the block trying to establish ourselves. But this will be a good test for us.
So far, Orel, they have passed all their tests with flying colors. They have been fantastic. 11-3 against the NL East. And you can see one key reason the Phils have done so well. Now, as we talked about at the top of the broadcast, the offensive numbers don't jump out at you. they're pretty even in terms of the offensive category, but the pitching is the key.
Well, the pitching has been key for the Mets. The Phillies have really pitched outstanding this year, and that's why they're on top of the division. They've made some great moves in their bullpen. They've got Jose Mesa down there, Ricky Batalica, Real Cormier, and now with Al Leiter going out to the mound for the Mets, having him back healthy is a big key for the Mets, because this guy is the ace of their staff. He's the guy that anchors this team, and the pitching needs to stay hot so this offense can wake up.
At third base, the shortstop is Orel.
Big emotional leader as well for Al Leiter.
Well, Al today, he's going to feature the cut fastball. He throws a million of those cut fastballs. He keeps bearing them in on right-handed hitters. He's learned to establish a little bit more of throwing that two-seamer to the other side of the plate on righties, which is really a key for him. And he'll show his changeup, and he'll show his big curveball.
Defense behind Al Leiter quite a bit different, Orel, than we saw in the series finale against the Marlins yesterday here at Shea. The outfield entirely different.
Well, it is different, and the man you got to look at, though, on their team is that guy at shortstop. Ray Ordonez right now with his bat is in a situation where it's the kidding around the clubhouse is being, Ray, do not lose your glove. There's a lot of gold on the left side of that infield, and Ray Ordonez is the key. He's got great range to his left and his right, and he's got one of the strongest arms in the National League.
Umpires for today's game here at Shea Stadium. Angel Hernandez, Hunter Wendelstedt, Mike Van Vliet, and Randy Marsh around the diamond. Nice crowd filing in on this holiday. And the Mets fans do believe, I think, Orel, that things are going to turn around a bit. We talked with Bobby Valentine at batting practice prior to the game. Feels a positive note after the Piazza home run to lead off the 8th yesterday, then the big hit from Lenny Harris.
Well, and Darrell Hamilton last night came up with a key double last night. Lenny Harris did his job, and if you read the articles around here in New York in the paper, everyone's talking about the Mets. They're 6-9, and they're talking about can they pull out of this, and I think they can. The key right now for them is Mike Piazza. If Mike Piazza can continue to stay hot, everybody, it puts such a charge into the bench, into the locker room, into the chemistry of the team, into the fans, and this place can get electric when that guy hits.
So the Mets 6 of 9 wins. All of those have been come from behind, and Mike Piazza helped the effort yesterday with a home run off Maselli of the Marlins to lead things off in the 8th. It was a blast, about 415 feet to straightaway center, and Doug Glanville will lead things off.
Well, Dougie Glanville has not been in that leadoff spot a lot. He's been up and down. They've been doing Jimmy Rollins, the new rookie shortstop, in there. And today, off a lefty, Doug Glanville leading off. The shakeup in the lineup when they moved him out of the starting spot earlier in the season really started to wake up his bat, and he's really started to hit his stride.
The 1-pitch foul down the third base line. So quickly Al Leiter in front. That's been a big key to his resurgence as well since coming off the DL. Fast worker, get ahead of the hitters. The kind of start he wanted. Tap toward third. Here's Ventura. Nice friendly hop to Zeal for the first down.
Shortstop number 11, Jimmy Rollins.
You know, Dave, the key with Al Leiter today is that he got to get that cutter inside for strikes. He can't be throwing it in there to the righties off the plate and making him take it. Once he starts throwing for strikes, then he can start chasing the ball inside on him and getting to swing over the top of it. Right there, he threw it for a good strike and got a ground ball to Robin Ventura, and that's a big part of his repertoire.
No, he faces the outstanding Phillies rookie shortstop Jimmy Rollins. What a story he's been. 3rd in the National League in stolen bases. He's 12 of 14 in that category, but it's not just the speed on the base pass. Great defense at shortstop, and some pop as well with 5 homers.
Well, you expect with a rookie shortstop maybe a little bit erratic with the glove, but he's only committed 2 errors, and he's been playing very, very well in the field, and the bat is sure awake. That's another great cut fastball from Al Leiter. You folks at home, when I'm talking about a cut fastball from a left-handed, it's not a slider where it's breaking down. It's actually cutting inside. He's holding the outer half of the ball, and he's kind of coming around it, and he's running it right in on those righties.
Missed high and away, 1-2. Rollins, very outspoken young player, not at all intimidating. That's what Larry Boa told us before the game today. And his surroundings, now that he's a major leaguer, he's always played about a level above where he is. This one ripped to left. Agbayani misjudges it. It's over his head. Extra bases for Rollins. And he'll be in with a double with 1 down. Agbayani, as we mentioned, not in the lineup in left field yesterday for the Mets, and he got frozen out there a bit.
Well, Jimmy Rollins does a good job going on down and getting this pitch. Little breaking ball down and in. It's more of the slider than the cutter, and he does a good job golfing it out there. And you can see Benny's first step was slightly in, and all of a sudden, here it goes. It's over his head. And the Phillies are in business with a double.
280 hitter as Rollins coming in. Right-handed, though, 382. It's been impressive. It's his 5th double this season. Bobby Abreu's next, right field. Played in the 2nd game of the doubleheader in Montreal at the Vet yesterday. Went 1 for 4 and left 1 on base in a loss to the Expos. They won the 1st game.
This would be a good challenge for Bobby Abreu up here facing Al Leiter, lefty on lefty with that cutter going away from him. He's going to have to stay on the ball really well.
Watch out. Hot shot right behind the Phil's dugout, third base line. Just get your seat, just get your hot dog and your soda pop ready, and got a laser beam coming at you.
You might need a refill after that one. You probably spilled your drink.
0-2 to Abreu with Rollins in scoring position. Just underway from Shea Stadium. Held up.
You see Al Leiter trying to go up the ladder right there, 0-2. Not a bad pitch at all. Good thought. I think he's going to continue to work him away. Interesting that the Mets are playing him slightly to pull, with Leiter continuing to pound the outside part of the plate.
Rollins going. Piazza won't even waste a throw. Another stolen base for the rookie, Jimmy Rollins, his 13th of the year in 15 tries. What a jump he had.
He got a great jump. He went on Al Leiter's first look, and he really got an awesome jump. You see, Leiter turns his head, and Rollins is off. And Piazza knows, just eat the ball. I've got no chance.
Now, we know Albert Pujols having a great year in St. Louis. Right now, the runaway leader for National League Rookie of the Year in that category. But this one ripped Abreu left center, will score the first run of the game. That didn't take long to the Phils to get going. The double from Rollins, steals third, plated by Bobby Abreu, single to left, and it's 1-0.
Well, Bobby Abreu picks on a high pitch, high cutter from Al Leiter right here. Does a great job with a nice level swing, stays behind the ball and just serves it out there to left center. You see right there, he stayed behind the ball very, very well. Stayed on the pitch. No matter if it was breaking or not, he was going to be right in time with that.
26th run knocked home of the year for Abreu. It's kind of the prototypical Phillies attack. They'll get a double, they'll scratch out a stolen base, suddenly a little single, and they've got a lead. Not going to overwhelm you with offensive numbers.
No, they sure not. But this guy right now, Scott Rowland, he talked to Larry Boa, and he says, you know, we're in first place, and the offense is kind of sputtered, but we're getting our key hits when we can. But it's pretty nice that with Lieberthal out, and now Scott Rowland really not starting to hit yet. Scott Rowland starts getting on a roll, pardon the pun. It'd be pretty nice because, you know, you start to act like an octopus. You know, which tentacle is going to get you? And right now they've got 3 or 4 tentacles working with Glanville and Rollins. But Rowland starts going, that could keep him going.
And he is going now, Orel. Recent homestand, the average started at 221. It's now to 257 coming into this game. That's a nice jump. 2 games at the Vet. And Leiter in some trouble now. It's 3-0 to Rowland. Abreu at first, 1 run in already.
Well, they have been getting some key hits, the Phillies. When they get runners in scoring position, they're hitting about 290 clip.
And left fielder Pat Burrell, one of the Phil sluggers, awaits. Rowland taken all the way for the first strike.
You know, Al Leiter on the mound out there, coming off an injury to that elbow. Who knows how it loosened up on a day game. You don't get as much time to walk around the mall if you're on the road or here at home to hang with the kids and lounge around the house, get that circulation.
Toward third, and Ventura backs up a bit. Throw across the diamond, plenty of time to Zeal. Second out, Abreu on to second base.
You know, to expand on that point, as a pitcher coming back from an injury, you just love the day before the night game that you can just lounge around and get a couple meals in you, get your circulation going. It always helps. Then when you have to get up in the morning and you get the kinks out, especially at age 37, Al Leiter had a healthy career, and right now just coming up with a little elbow tenderness. It's not always fun to get up and pitch a day game as you get older.
Now, Rolen and Pat Burrell have combined for just 8 home runs in the home run hitting positions of their lineup, 4th and 5th. But as we said, if Rolen gets going, and Burrell hit a rocket home run yesterday against Montreal off the foul pole to left, some pop in that lineup. Toward third. That's a fair ball for Ventura. He's been busy this half inning. Scored 5-3, but the Phils do get one across thanks to Bobby Abreu's single to left. Middle of the first at Shea.
ESPN2's Major League Baseball is brought to you by Quikrete Concrete Products. No one makes it easier than Quikrete.
Shea Stadium in New York. About 65 degrees. Perfect for baseball. We had a little threat of some overcast weather during batting practice, but it looks like it's cleared up nicely for Bobby Valentine and the Mets. No Met in the top 25 world of any of the major offensive categories. Home runs, RBIs, average. So like the Phillies, a bit offensively challenged. Got to get something going.
Well, they definitely get something going. And with this lineup, we talk about Mike Piazza needing to get going, but the guy in the second hole, Edgardo Alfonso, is one of the best hitters in the game, and he is off to one of the slowest starts you're ever going to see for an outstanding player. And I don't know if he's nicked up or he just having mechanical problems. We got to get his swing on track.
Benny Agbayani leads things off. Met left fielder. A little trouble with the drive in the top of the first from Jimmy Rollins.
Well, Benny Agbayani, not the prototypical body for a leadoff hitter. You talk to Bobby Valentine, though, he loves his on-base percentage. And he's scoring a lot of runs, so he just leaves them in that one hole.
And Randy Wolf having a tremendous month of May on the mound for the Phils. Head-to-head with Agbayani to lead things off for New York.
Well, Randy Wolf's going to feature the fastball, which is not overpowering, a changeup, which is one of his out pitches, and a nice solid breaking ball.
And he reaches a bit, skies it down the right field line. There's Abreu, and he puts it away for the first out.
The second baseman.
Larry Bowen told us before the game how crucial the defense has got to be for his team. They've got to make the everyday play occasionally spectacular. If they do that with their pitching, they've got a good chance.
Yeah, and that kid at shortstop, you put a freshman in there, first-year rookie, and you think, oh, no, we're going to have Erratic, and he's right in the middle of the key of our defense. But this kid has been solid. As we said earlier, only 2 errors, great range, great arm, and I'll tell you, they love his energy in the clubhouse. They just love it because he's not disrespectful to veterans. He's very respectful, but he keeps it going.
Outstanding fielding percentage. Unbelievable year for him. They say he's about 5'8", 155. I don't know. Maybe a little smaller in both ends of that statistic. Alfonso, as Orel mentioned, trying to crank it up as well. Does have the 8 home runs. Mike Piazza leads the team in that category with 11. He belted one yesterday. That's bats in a big slumber to begin the season, only the first month and a half. Short right field. Tomas Perez out there to put it away.
The catcher, number 31, Mike Piazza.
Hitting in the number 3 hole today, Piazza gets a nice round of applause from the sometimes tough Met crowd, as you know from having been here in '99.
Well, they live and die with you, and they let you know quickly if they love you or they hate you. And you just got to love it as a player, though, the intensity of the moment here. There's no getting into, oh, this is kind of a lackadaisical day. Nobody in the ballpark, nobody cares. Everybody here cares, no matter if there's 10,000 or 50,000.
Yesterday's game with Florida, first couple of bats, Piazza was swinging at the first pitch. Changed that against Maselli in the 8th inning when he just tapped 2. Home run to straightaway center. Grounder toward Rolen at third. That's a nice hop. That'll do it for the Mets. They go quietly in the home first. Good start for Randy Wolf, the left-hander of the Phillies. Loving it. No school today. Beautiful day at Shea Stadium in Queens. What could be better? Mets and Phils here on ESPN2. Phillies able to scratch out a run. Rollins a double. Abreu knocked him home with a single to left at the top of the first. And first baseman Kevin Jordan leads off the second.
Well, Kevin hitting at 308. Normally a very good pinch hitter. Getting a start here today for Larry Boa. You're going to see a lot of that. A lot of foul balls from right-handed hitters down the third baseline. See, most of the day Robin Ventura will be hugging that third baseline. That cutter coming in on these righties, it's about the only thing they can do to hit it hard is to pull it foul if it's in the right spot.
Broken bat. Little number. Ordonez going to barehanded on the move. Makes a nice play. Let's go to the studio. Check in with Dave Repson.
Thank you, Dave. One update here on what's going on between the Indians and the Tigers. It's already 1-0 Detroit in the first. 2 runners aboard for Dean Palmer. They are aboard no longer. A 3-run homer, his 8th of the year. It is 4-0 Tigers in the second, Dave.
Dave, thanks. They could use that to snap a 5-game losing streak.
Well, here, a jam shot by Kevin Jordan. And Ray Ordonez, I don't need a glove. We're just going to barehand that and flip it over there.
Catcher Gary Bennett is next. First plate appearance. A couple runs knocked in. Nothing over the wall yet for Bennett. Got to shore up their catching situation with Mike Lieberthal now placed on the 60-day DL. Blasted foul.
Definitely point out why Mike Lieberthal's not in there with that injury, but they definitely can miss him today. He's hitting at a 490 clip off Al Leiter, about 14 at bats. If the Phillies offense doesn't continue like they did in the first inning, they can always blame it on Lieberthal not being around.
No signs of slowing down yet for the Phillies. 6.5-game lead to start the day in the NL East. Are you shocked?
Well, I think everybody is shocked that the Phillies are where they are. I think especially the Mets and the Braves. They thought they were going to be the 2 competitions in the division. And Philadelphia, absolutely amazing. We shall see if that Lieberthal injury hurts them over the long haul.
Lifted to right. Here's Joe McEwing. There's the second out.
Well, the last 2 batters off Al Leiter, Kevin Jordan got jammed and hit a weak ground ball to shortstop. Right there, Gary Bennett trying to keep that cutter inside fair and has to just kind of force it out there to right field, but neither one of them could get the barrel of the bat on it and hit it hard. To keep it fair, you almost have to push it off your body if it's in the right place. And that guy right there can be very tough on righties.
Tomas Perez is next. Shade under 300 for the Phil second baseman. Hit hard. Ordonez dives, makes a great play. Does he have the arm? Not quite. Perez legs out the infield hit, but what a play by Ray Ordonez in the hole at short.
Well, he does make a great play. First of all, in the range and getting to this ball. Second of all, after he gets this ball, look at the angle of his hips. They're pointed out towards the outfield. That's why he can't get anything on this throw. A lot of times when they slide, they have their hips in neutral, still pointed towards home. But right there, he had to dive and outstretch so far, the hips are pointed to the outfield, and that is really hard without pivoting to throw the ball. That is all shoulder, and it's absolutely amazing that he got the ball to first base.
Pretty accurate throw, considering his physical situation. Here comes the pitcher. Tap right back to Leiter. So Randy Wolf, no match for the Mets starting left-hander today. Todd Zeile up first when the Mets hit in the second. Here's here. Plenty available at Shea Stadium. 1-0 Phil's lead. If you love baseball, today is your day. And tonight on ESPN2 and ESPN, Rockies, Dodgers, Yanks, and Red Sox. Today on ESPN2. And at 4 o'clock over on ESPN, Randy Johnson of the D-backs will take on Barry and the Giants. Hit his 26th yesterday. Regional action at the Angels at the D-Rays. 7:30 p.m. John Smoltz continuing his comeback. Braves host the Expos. 7 you'll see the Marlins and Pirates. There are 13 games in Major League Baseball today. 9 on ESPN or ESPN2. How about that?
That's pretty good coverage right there. And how about Barry Bonds, the way he's swinging the bat right now? If you like offense, you like home runs, you like left-handed hitters, you got to watch that game.
520th career home run yesterday for Barry. With all of his tremendous stats, though, as Zeal leads things off in the home second for the Mets, still just 4 wins in 12 games for the Giants.
Sometimes you stand around, and the same thing happened to the Cardinals. McGuire was chasing that record. Everybody just stands around and watches the show. BP's a fiasco. Everybody's out there watching. All of us media are watching him hit him. Same thing's happening with Barry. A lot of hype around him, and can he catch him with 70, and what pace is he on? And boy, he's swinging great, and everybody starts forgetting about their own game. It becomes a distraction.
11th homer in 10 games. Now within 1 of McCovey and Williams for 11th place on the all-time list. Zeal a bouncer to third and rolling. Easy play.
The third baseman, number 4, Robin Ventura.
You know, just to finish up on Barry Bonds, to his credit, you talked to him on the phone. I've talked to him a couple times, and this guy, he wants that team to win. And he's not really worried about his home runs and the focus on him. He's worried about a World Series and getting that ring, and he wants to get back to the playoffs.
That's the disappointment last year. Ventura started to come around as well. Talked with Robin at the cage today before the game, and he, like most of the Mets, starting to feel a little more comfortable. He told us early season, just a disaster. Everything was going wrong for the Mets, offensively and defensively. Guys going down with injuries. This one ripped to right. Abreu will not catch up with it into the corner. Ventura's thinking 2. He'll cruise in with a double. And the Mets had something going with 1 down. Let's get back to Dave Repson.
Okay, Dave, want to update you on the Reds and the Cubs. Bases loaded in the first for Cincinnati. Bill Selby looks innocuous enough, but Miguel Cairo throws it over Matt Stairs' head. All 3 runners score for the Reds on a ball that didn't leave the infield. It's 3-0 Cincinnati, guys.
All right, Dave, thanks. Cubs certainly have been playing lights out before that little fiasco defensively. 7 wins in a row atop the NL Central. Tsuyoshi Shinjo is next.
You know, Robin Ventura, after he hits this ball, makes a great swing on a fastball down the middle of the plate. But after he hits first base here, he looks like he's laboring to me. Look at this stride. He looks like he's pulling that left leg with him. Kind of wincing a little bit there after he arrived, too. He's gotten off to a fast start this year, and his production has been pretty solid. Talked to Bobby Valentine. He says he's played better than he did last year.
Shinjo, one of the few Mets actually over 300. Hasn't happened much. Way ahead of that pitch from Randy Wolf. Rips it foul.
Well, a lot of the hype around baseball is about Ichiro up there in Seattle. Another one of his countrymen here, Shinjo. Hit 323 with runners in scoring position, 300 and something as his normal at bats. You know, he's a little out over his skis right now compared to what he used to put up, the numbers he put up in Japan.
And of course, the ever-present Japanese media throng, they were all over him during batting practice today. Looks like he's a bit indifferent to it now, though. He's used to the coverage.
So you can see right there his average season in Japan at 248. Now he's above 300 and low 300s with runners in scoring position. Usually the pitchers are the ones with the advantage the first time around, and hitters are getting used to the league and figuring out what they're throwing, but he's kind of turned the tables on.
17 of the 20 RBIs come with runners in scoring position. Good chance here with Ventura at second. Foul back. A lot of support for Tsuyoshi here in New York. No question. It has taken this city by storm. Two and two against Wolf here. Left to the right. That'll reach the seats foul.
Well, over there in Japan, they throw an awful lot of breaking balls, no matter what the count is. And today, with Randy Wolf on the mound, his 2 out pitches are his curveball and his changeup. So, not really the kind of pitcher that you would think that gives Shinjo a hard time. You would think that a guy that has the overpowering fastball. So we'll see if deep in the count here, Wolf continues with the soft stuff. That would play right into Shinjo's hand.
Big hack. Down he goes.
Well, you can see he went up the ladder with the high fastball. And very good off-speed hitter. Very good curveball hitter, changeup hitter. Sometimes they think a slider speed bat, but here comes the high heater inside. And it is by him, and you can see it took an overswing for him to even attempt to get on this ball. You kids at home, that is not the way you want to finish up after a big swing.
Definitely not. Little corkscrew into the ground.
Even in the Far East, they don't teach that. Shinjo would tell you himself that that's not where he wanted to be.
Here's the right fielder, Joe McEwing, with 2 down in the second. Wolf can crank it up when he has to. Coming in 9th in the National League, strikeouts with 63 Ks. Of course, the big unit. 115 to lead the way in the NL.
Well, you can make an 87 mile an hour seem like it's 95 when you have an outstanding changeup, and then you have that nice slow curveball. It's not always gas like the big unit that brings up the strikeouts. It's its speed differential. The basic big league pitcher likes to get about 10 miles an hour between his off-speed pitch and his fastball. So if you're throwing it at 87, your fastball to 90, you've got to get your off-speed stuff down there around 77 to 80. If you get a little bigger differential than that, around 12 to 13 miles an hour, now you're talking about a lights out kind of changeup. And Randy Wolf on his good days has that kind of pitch.
Two down to McEwing. Now Wolf suddenly in a 3-0 hole. But with 2 down, the pitcher's spot. Well, actually, Ordonez first, then the pitcher's spot. Although some I think would say Ordonez might be in the same league with his bat. Lack of success this season again for him. And of course, a tremendous glove at short. Swing it right back toward us, not too far away. So perhaps with that in mind, Ordonez the weak bat behind McEwing. Bobby Valentine's got Joe swinging.
Well, you could see there with a 3-0 green light from Bobby Valentine, that guy is really looking for some production out of the bottom of his order any way he can get it. He knows Ray Ordonez on deck, not swinging a very good bat. Al Leiter can handle the bat, but not really as far as for hitting. He's a pretty good bunter.
Lofted foul, so the count runs full. Larry Boa claims he has eased off a bit on his intense demeanor he had when he was a manager of the Padres. His first big league skipper job got him fired in mid-season because he was just in everyone's face 24/7. It was too much.
He also talked about not taking it to the press, talking to guys more one-on-one, not as many team airing outs.
McEwing holds up, brings up Ordonez. First walk of the game for Randy Wolf.
Well, right here, Randy Wolf wants to get Ray Ordonez. I know there's 2 outs. I know third base is open, not first base. But a pitcher doesn't want to turn the lineup over. He wants to have Al Leiter lead off next inning. He wants to have that 1-0 lead and have Leiter leading off. So right now it's bear down on Ray Ordonez, and with the Mets the way they've been hitting at about a 266 clip with runners in scoring position, Randy's going to be real aggressive right here.
And this is low and away. A little slump for Ordonez. Unfortunately, the 4th time that's happened.
He's had an outstanding glove. We've already seen evidence of that this game. Coming in on the broken bat by Kevin Jordan and going to the hole. Making an outstanding play even though it was an infield hit. right here, a smart player like Robin Ventura has been standing on second base a while. It could be a little bit of relaying the signs, so Gary Bennett and Randy Wolf getting on the same page, maybe alternating the signs right here, alternating the locations to make sure that Robin Ventura doesn't relay any of that to Ray Ordonez. Ends up costing him a run. Watch, he did a no sign right there.
How often is that going to happen in a game?
Well, when you get a guy on second base, one of the smarter players in the league, you can change your sequence of signs there. You can go with pumps. You can go with first sign after 2, first sign after the last pitch. Change your locations. You might do a reverse shift every once in a while because they might be trying to tell them what side of the plate they're going.
In the dirt, good play by Bennett to knock it down. And it's 2-1 to Ray Ordonez.
Sometimes I used to throw a wild pitch every once in a while on purpose in this situation. You didn't have a lot of confidence against the hitter you were facing. Wild pitch puts him at second and third. Now your manager says, oh, let's walk him and get to the pitcher. Now you get to face the pitcher you wanted to. But if you do the walk by yourself or not the wild pitch, sometimes I throw a few balls in the dirt, especially a free swinger like Ray Ordonez here. Get yourself out. If the ball gets away from my catcher, I got second and third. I'll walk in. I'll just face the pitcher. I can say that now that I'm not playing. The general manager and managers wouldn't want to hear that one.
Probably not.
What do you mean you're throwing wild pitches on purpose?
With the risks inherent to an intentional wild pitch. Is there a stat for that? I'm sure we can find it.
Well, you didn't throw it like to the backstop like Ricky and Keel's kind of problem right now on purpose. But you'd bounce a lot.
Still in the minors, and Keel is struggling. Saw the laboring numbers from Wolf in the second. This one lofted to short right. In comes Abreu, though. Crossing over the foul line, makes the catch, and that'll do it for the Mets in the home second. Wolf survives. A little threat from New York, still a 1-0 game.
ESPN2's Major League Baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, this Bud's for you.
26th home date of the year. Mets just over 32,000 average per home game so far. Good support for the National League champs from last year. Here's Glanville, top of the order for the Phils with a 1-0 lead. Scratched out a run in the first inning against Al Leiter.
Well, that was Al Leiter's 31st pitch. That foul ball from Glanville. Coming back from this elbow strain. I don't know if he's on a pitch counter now, but I don't think we're going to see him much past 100 pitches. So for him to get deep into this game, the 6th, 7th inning for the Mets, he's going to have to get a little more efficient.
6 innings in his last outing. 6 hits, a couple earned runs against Montreal. May 23rd, it was a win. Second triumph of the year for Leiter. 4-2 win up at Olympic Stadium. Angle's gone. First out of the third. Let's go back to Dave Revsine.
All right, thank you, Dave. The Tigers just piling it on against Cleveland and Chuck Finley. Wendell McGee, 2-run homer here in the second, his first of the year. Chuck Finley out of there after giving up 8 runs in 1 inning pitch, Dave. It's 8-zip.
Yikes, Dave. Thanks. Trouble with Detroit on Sunday Night Baseball over on ESPN last night. Not the case today. Rollins thinking about a bunt. Up the line he goes. Oh, nifty try from Alfonso. Tried the dipsy-do throw behind the back. It was his only shot to get the speedy Jimmy Rollins, who's on with his second hit.
Jimmy Rollins is showing everything in his bag of tricks. He drives the ball over the left field head. Benny Agbayani here. He pushes a bunt by the 37-year-old Al Leiter. And Edgardo Alfonso very creative in trying to throw that behind his back. With the short foul territory here at Shea, no chance for Rollins to move up a base on that ball getting by Zeal.
Remember, Rollins helped create the run in the first with a double over Agbayani's head and left, stole third. 13th theft of the year. That's just one behind Florida's Luis Castillo, starting the day, leading the National League with 14 stolen bases. Here's Abreu. These two teamed up for the run in the first.
I got to believe early in this at bat, for sure sometime in this bat, Rollins is going to be running with 1 out. With the Mets, the way they play their first baseman slightly off the bag, and with Al Leiter's move as a lefty, There's really not a hole over there on the right side of the infield. You look for Jimmy Rollins to be running. Probably his first experience as a rookie over there with a first baseman that actually plays off the bag with a man on first in a running situation for Jimmy Rollins. Something that might delay his steal opportunity here in his mind for a pitch or two until he actually gets comfortable with having Todd Zeile there in front of him.
Great point. That is very unusual to see. An orthodox approach from Zeile. Spent a lot of his career at third base.
Well, he spent a tremendous amount of his career at third base, and moving over there to first base, hoping to get some power numbers. Been a little light in the power numbers so far for Todd. But right now, the story over there is Jimmy Rollins.
Not going. Abreu watches ball 4 go by. With 1 down at the top of the 3rd, the Phillies in business. Runners at 1st and 2nd, and Scott rolling up.
With Scott Rowland coming up right here, you know he wants to continue to break out here and lead this Phillies team. He is the big news in Philly. He took a lot of heat over the last few years. It's kind of like, when are these guys going to come into their own? Scott Rowland, Mike Lieberthal, when are they really going to start to produce and put this team over the top? And now with the team in first place, him having a chance to continue that.
Good speed at second base in Rollins. And that's where Jimmy is, the rookie, and Abreu after the walk from Leiter at first, 1 down. Abreu's 9 of 14 on stolen bases, so you're thinking double steal here. Harry Boa, very aggressive as a manager. We'll see what he's got in his bag of tricks. Nothing happening now. Rowland takes it inside.
We're going to see Al Leiter go with the 2 looks, the 1 look, the long look, and Scott Rowland, he is really hitting really well. Not only right there in May, but hitting .383 with runners in scoring position. So he's shown to pick out the correct pitch when he lets that bat go here.
Sky down the left field line, and well foul out of play. Rowland in the first game of the doubleheader against Montreal yesterday, 2 of 4, a couple RBIs and a run. Nightcap 1 for 4, a couple of strikeouts. 2-run double in that first game with the Expos. Phils continue to play well. Mounting a threat here in the top of the 3rd.
You know, you talk about the Philadelphia Phillies, the core of their team with Mike Lieberthal out. What's left now is Scott Rowland, Bobby Abreu, Doug Glanville, and now Jimmy Rollins. But Rowland is really the man.
Chance to live up to that here. High and tight. Larry Bowa's been asked quite a few times, is he shocked at team success? He says absolutely not. He fought from spring training. We had a good nucleus here. Didn't think the pitching would probably be as good as it has been. Timely hitting and great defense. That was his big theme coming in.
And he gave a lot of talks to individuals and as a group that we don't have the team that we can give 4 outs with our pitching staff. We don't have the kind of guys that strike out a lot of people. The ball is going to be put in play, so we're going to have to play tight defense and only give them 3 outs.
Smashing the bat is Rowland, and the ball is smashed as well. Deep and foul into the 2nd level. Talk about the great Philly defense Orel mentioned. 22 errors, fewest in the league. They've really been solid all the way around. Rowland will get a new twig.
He's going to need more than a twig with that cutter bearing in on those right-handers' fists. We've already had the jam shot to short, the jam shot to right field. Now Scott Rowland learning what it's like to try and hit that ball off your thumbs from Al Leiter. You got to continue to work Al Leiter and foul those pitches off and hope as a batter he starts to make a mistake over the middle of the plate so you can get the head on one and keep it fair. See right there, Rowland is off the plate a little bit more and opened up.
On at bat, again, Leiter will chase Rollins back to 2nd.
Now this is a part of the game right here when Al Leiter or Mike Piazza notice that change in Rowland's stance, that they can go to the outer half of the plate with that 2-seamer he's been working on. Little advice from another great left-hander, Sandy Koufax. and the ex-Mets pitching coach Dave Wallace that really preached hard to Al Leiter to start using the other side of the plate, especially as he gets older, and everybody around the league knows that he throws that cutter in, but you've got to start using the outer half of the plate, and really increased his strikeouts and increased his walk ratio also, because he got people swinging a lot more at more pitches, and then he stopped giving up those walks on the inside cutter because they had to guard both sides of the plate.
Leiter was ready. Roland was not. Scott steps out again. Now we're all set. Waved on a miss. Big strikeout from Leiter. Second out of the third.
The left fielder, number 5, Pat Moore.
Well, you could see that wasn't the cutter. It was a two-seamer on the outer half. It didn't make it to the whole outer half, but it didn't cut in that much. And Scott Rowland pulling off a little bit, just enough to make him swing and miss.
Big jams like this, winning the World Series rings he has. 3, a couple with Toronto, and 1 with the Marlins. All the experience. You mentioned 37 years old. It all comes into play, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and he's a great guy to have on the team. Talk about a guy who's right in the middle of team chemistry. When he's not pitching those other 4 days, he's the kind of guy you want on your team. He's on the bench, he's pumping guys up, he's really intense. And when he's on the mound, he's the same way.
Still got to deal with Pat Burrell. This is inside. Many other pitchers Bobby Valentine wants out of the hill. This type of situation. 2-0 hold to Burrell. He's swinging. Short right field. McEwing a little trouble with it. Still moving to his right. Able to finally locate and make the catch. Well, Al Leiter is always interesting to watch on the mound, and especially when his teammates make plays defensively, or in this case, almost do not make plays. Woo! Al Leiter's happy with that. Now Leiter will lead off the home third for the Mets. Six games with 12 at-bats. Nothing doing offensively yet. Struck out 7 times in his 12 appearances thus far.
You talk about Al Leiter's intensity. You'll see it here at the plate, right in his face. But I'm not sure it's transferring up to the bat very often.
Thinking bunts. As Jimmy Rollins was, except Rollins successfully executed and got himself to first base with a single.
Around the batting cage when the pitchers are practicing their bunting, a little barbing back and forth after they lay down a good bunt, they go, well, who's going to run for you, though?
Watches the fastball, just miss. Home plate up Angel Hernandez. Leiter was getting razzed by the crowd when he finally connected during batting practice today, and he does not connect there. 1 down to the third. Second strikeout of the game for Randy Wolf.
Number 50.
I love National League ball, and I love the pitchers hitting. But sometimes when a pitcher makes a swing like that, a lot of people looking for the DH.
Quickly. Well, a lot of major trouble with a transaction wire in the Mets. Agbayani, a rip to left. This one is off the wall. As Burrell had to watch it go, it's just a long single because it was hit so hard. Just a shot to left. You mentioned Agbayani, who had the fractured wrist, one of many Mets who've been hurt this year. And he is aboard with 1 down. Wrist, no problem there.
No problem at all. He picks on an 0-0 changeup. Not always the best theory in baseball to throw your off-speed pitch first if it's going to be a straight one, because it ends up looking like a BP fastball with nothing to relate to like a fastball to make it seem off-speed. And Benny does a great job of just golfing it out there to left field.
That ball was hit hard to the wall in a second. Here's Alfonso, Mets second baseman. Well, the Mets win over the Marlins on Friday. 11-3 victory. Snapped out of a long slump. Finally got things going. He's had knee troubles and back problems. not in the lineup yesterday after tweaking some injuries Saturday.
You know, the defense here, they're really playing him for the opposite field power. The right fielder is the deepest part of the defense with Bobby Abreu, and with that hole over there at first base, and Edgardo Alfonso has really got great power to the opposite field. You can see the center fielder Doug Glanville in pretty shallow, and the right fielder Bobby Abreu is playing deeper out there because Edgardo's power.
Foul tipped into the mitt of Gary Bennett. Alfonso popped out for the second baseman Tomas Perez in the first. 0 for 1. It's not just Mike Piazza and Zeal and Ventura have got a hit. Alfonso, as Orel pointed out, great all-around player over the past couple of years. Has got to bring the A game if the Mets are going to make a serious push in the second half.
Well, I tell you, people around the league and scouts and over the last few years have really thought Edgardo Alfonso is one of the best players in the game. Defensively, offensively, team leader, the way, the makeup, the smartness that he brings, just a very outstanding guy to have on your team and in baseball. And right now, it's mystifying people why he's going so slow.
Mike Bennett just 1 of 4 on stolen base tries this year, but Larry Bowen and the Phils want to stay at some sort of hit and run. Big Met inning if they can. 1 down in the third. Got the outside corner.
Well, now not a bad situation for Randy Wolf. He gets a fastball in the outer half of the plate called for a strike. He's got 2 good off-speed pitches with his breaking ball and his changeup. He wants the ball hit to the left side of the infield because of the man on first. You're going to see something slow here.
Foul back. Alfonso, 3 for 11 on the homestand coming into this at bat. Saw his numbers, how impressive they've been of late, and what about the start he had when he tied a club record, hit a home run 4 straight games. This was in April, of course, a month ago. So sandwiched between the torrid start and the sizzling stretch he's on now was a long, bare spot on Edgardo Alfonso's record.
The Mets have never been a team, even though they've been in the World Series and the playoffs the last few years, they've never been a team to bombard you. They've always come at you with very consistent hitters. Piazza, always in the middle of the lineup, can hit the bombs, but they're not a team that wants to rack up 9 to 11 to 12 runs. They'll get their 5 and 6 very consistently.
Mike Banny's on the move. Alfonso fouls back.
And they play great tight defense, and they pitch very well, and they've had an outstanding bullpen. So when you talk about the Mets offense, it's not that they need to come a long way. They just need to get healthy, get a few guys, get some key hits, and then really the place they need the help is the bullpen and in the starting pitching. The 2 additions with Apier and Traxel have not completely panned out yet. Traxel's in the minor leagues trying to get his act together, and Apier's up here, but 40% of your starting rotation turns over from the year that you go to the World Series. I know Kevin Apier there, right, wants to help this team out. Came here with a lot of fanfare after Mike Hampton left. He decided to go for 2 starters instead of 1.
You're 3 and 5, 5.24 ERA, and as you mentioned, Traxel at Norfolk in the minors, AAA right now, International League, 1 and 6 before the demotion.
Well, they've really come through a tough stretch. You look at those 2 guys that they signed as free agents that really haven't been up to snuff yet. Al Leiter goes down and misses 3-4 starts with his elbow. Now you've got 3 out of your 5 starters that one's gone with injury that was here last year, and 2 that are new. Giving you a tough time for Bobby Valentine and Charlie Huff, the new pitching coach for the Mets, to really patch together a starting rotation. Now with Leiter being back and healthy, and maybe Traxel gets his wheels back on down at AAA, gets back up here, and Apier gets on the beam. The guys that have really been carrying this team, especially one guy in particular, Rick Reed, has been outstanding.
Yeah, we saw pitching coach Charlie Huff there on the left. Reed 5 and 2. under a 2.7 earned run average. Alfonso waves and misses. Throw down to second. Agbayani. It gets away from Rollins. Benny's thinking third. Glanville the gun. He's in there. Let's go back to Dave Revson.
All right, Dave, some excitement for you guys. Some excitement between the Cubs and the Reds as well. Sammy Sosa, RBI single here, 41st of the season. That makes it a 3-1 Cincinnati lead. Next batter's Matt Stairs, and he is going deep. A 3-run homer, his 4th of the year. It's just like that. It's 4-3 Cubs.
All right, Dave, that is why the Cubs have won 7 in a row and towering above the NL Central. Agbayani at third.
But Edgardo swings and misses. Doesn't get in the way of Gary Bennett. Good solid one-hop throw. Jimmy Rollins probably should have had that. Probably got to go for ball first, not the runner there. And the error will probably go to Gary Bennett, the catcher. But Jimmy Rollins could have helped him out on this, and Benny Agbayani lumbering in to third base.
Indeed, Orel, it is. Stolen base for Agbayani. Error on the throw from Bennett. So the Mets now 2 down, and the ever dangerous Mike Piazza. He really felt when watching his long drive to center field yesterday that Preston Wilson was going to catch up with it. The way the season has gone for him, it's been a rough ride, well under his career numbers. Ripped to right center, but Abreu stationed perfectly. Will gobble it up for the third out. And that's it for the Mets in the third. Piazza leaves Agbayani at third base. Randy Wolf survives again against one of the game's most dangerous hitters, Mets catcher Mike Piazza.
Are you ready to match the Mets?
Stadium, Dave Ryan, Orel Hershiser. Good memories for you being back here after your 99 run?
Well, it was a great season that year. We had a great run against the Braves, some awesome games, 15 innings in a playoff game. But here at Shea, it's always electric, playoffs or regular season.
It's fun walking around with you along the dugouts and batting practice. Everyone recognizes you, all the policemen and the security guards.
I can't get in trouble in New York.
Bobby Valentine stopping by to say hi. Gordon leads things off, 4th inning. Grounded out to the shortstop Ordonez in the second. VIP status for my partner here at Shea.
It's always nice to come home. This wasn't always home turf for me. Back with the Dodgers for a long time.
I remember, sure.
Tough playoff series with these Mets, and it was also awfully nice for them to welcome me for that 1 year.
Again, it's Ordonez. Great arm. Easy play to Zeal. 1 down in the 4th. Coming up tomorrow night right here on ESPN and ESPN2, we've got your coverage of the Stanley Cup Finals Game 2. It is an exclusive national coverage as Patrick Waugh with a shutout in Game 1 of New Jersey takes on the Devils again. Stanley Cup Finals. Can Waugh win a 4th Stanley Cup? Looking good. Joe Sakic is en route to a Conn Smythe Trophy as the Stanley Cup playoff MVP. Goal and assist in Game 1 as they hammer the Devils, normally a defensive team. We'll have it for you over on ESPN. Catcher Gary Bennett is next. Hammered foul well ahead of him.
You know, we saw earlier in our graphic 8-5 with Mike Lieberthal gone, and Gary Bennett and Johnny Estrada are now the 2 Phillies catchers. The number one thing they're really going to miss is not always the offense, but it's the knowledge of the league and seeing how this pitching staff reacts to throwing to 2 new receivers. And so Gary Bennett up here to the bat, but the key for him is he is on a crash course with Johnny Estrada to learn this league and to learn this pitching staff so that they can guide him and keep him hot. Because as a pitcher, you love to have a great receiver back there, somebody you trust in their knowledge and the way they catch the ball.
Estrada, first homer of his career came Friday against Javier Vasquez of Montreal at the vet. And he caught the 2nd game of the doubleheader against the Expos yesterday. Bennett in the opener, 2 for 4 with a run scored. But I think that's a great point you make about managing the pitchers. Now, as we see Estrada, tough that's going to be for the Phils in Lieberthal's absence. 60-day DL. He's gone for a while.
Well, he is gone for a while, and I'm sure he's sticking around doing his rehab, helping these guys out, because he's got a lot at stake too. These Phillies are the team that he's played for and been the nucleus of, and it's always hard when you get hurt. You're always looking for a way to contribute. It's very frustrating to be in that training room and to be doing your workouts and knowing that you're building to hopefully this team can stay in near the top or in first place and get back for possibly the playoffs. Right now, the Phillies need those two young catchers to really take notice of what's going on every single game so that they can gain that knowledge and garner it very quickly to help this pitching staff stay on a roll.
2-2 to Bennett. Fouled again. Had a chance to meet Johnny Estrada last year at the Double-A All-Star game in Bowie, Maryland we had here on ESPN2, and at that point he was very confident. He was on his way. I don't think he realized how soon he was going to be up to the big leagues. Less than a year later, May 15th, made his major league debut against the Brewers. Single in his first at bat as well. Ripped to left, and Bennett is on.
Well, not the thing we've been talking about. We're talking about the defense, but Gary Bennett shows up with the bat. He goes down after a slow curveball and really does a good job reaching down in there to get this curveball off Al Leiter. That down and in pitch. This is the curveball, not the cutter. Gets right out in front of it and lifts it by Robin Ventura. And he's going to have some weight to carry, because you don't want to root against someone, but around baseball, people don't think that Mike Lieberthal will be back this year. It's been an awfully tough injury, and you wish everybody the best, and you wish him especially the best. A hard-working, great young man.
Here's Perez. Rocking it back as well, foul.
Good day for souvenirs down the left field side.
We chatted with Robin Ventura about how many balls he's probably going to see at third. The left side of the infield very busy when Al Leiter's on the mound. Got to be alert, ready to go at all times. Robin said he just loves the antics of Al Leiter. So interesting to watch his characteristics out there. Ground ball, Alfonso thought about 2 steps in the bag, but his throw is high and late to Zeal. Perez at first, 2 down.
You know, on this ball right here, we showed how you're going to get a lot of balls. You see Ray Ordonez shifted way around because of that cutter inside, but he throws the 2-seamer away. Edgardo Alfonso gets it. He's all by himself because Ray's over there by third base, and just a little bit of an awkward throw, not being able to get enough mustard on this ball to first to really double him up. Todd Zeal just doing a good job keeping the ball in front of him.
Here's Wolf. Right back to the pitcher, Leiter. One pitcher will throw out another. Middle of the 4th at Shea Memorial Day Baseball here on ESPN2. Phils have a 1-0 lead on Leiter in the mix. Top 20 in the National League in earned run average. Kevin Brown of LA, of course, leads that category. Good numbers for the left-hander. We asked the manager, Larry Boa, about his success.
Well, I think one thing is that he's throwing strike 1, strike 2. Early in the season, he was running deep counts, pitching behind to the hitters. He's being a lot more aggressive. He's using both sides of the plate. And putting those two things together, I think it's made him a much better pitcher.
Well, strike 1 and strike 2 are very important, especially to guys, all pitchers, but to guys who throw off-speed pitches, because the more pitches you throw, the more the hitter starts to develop the relationship between your two pitches, starts to recognize them early. You get a hitter out 1 or 2, 3 pitches, they have a tough time adjusting to the change of speeds and the change of break.
0 for 1 so far for the Mets. Grounded out to third. And Scott Rowland in the second. Talking with Todd during batting practice, he said year in and year out, my month of May is always just rot. Can't explain it. Doesn't have the remedy for it, but knows the month's almost over. And the second half of the year is coming up.
Amazing how that happens in baseball.
But if you know it's happening, it's tough to defeat that, right, Orel?
It is. I mean, you really just want to forget about it. Everybody starts to bring it up, and you wonder why, and you try and fix it, and you talk to hitters about it, you talk to pitchers about it, and it's just, you think, okay, all of a sudden you get an ex-player up here in the booth, he could tell you why it happens, but down there in the dugout, there's 25 guys on each side trying to figure it out also.
Foul straight back. Recent 15-game skid for Zeal with no RBIs. 1 for 3 against Florida in that series finale with the Marlins here yesterday.
Maybe he's a cold weather player and a hot weather player. He's not really good in the transition. Needs that temperature just to be really hot or really cold.
Southern California guy, right? UCLA.
Yeah. Smart guy too. Good head on his shoulders. Always been a good student of the game. Loves the inside fastball.
That home run came Friday night against the Marlins. Let's won that game big, 11-3, then lost Saturday. Won here yesterday, and the big rally. Lenny Harris had the game-winning single in the 8th. 3-run rally in that inning. A long at bat here for Todd Zeal. So the RBI and the home run that came Friday, his first since May 7th. Start of last week, the average had dipped down to 231 for Todd Zeal. But Todd Zeal also told us about the great Memorial Day presence here at Shea Stadium. And he knows he's going to come out of it too. And that, in fact, is kind of boosting his spirits as the month draws to a close. Feels he's swinging the bat better, seeing the ball a lot better now. Well, it's a rut like any other with a hitter. You just never know. 3-2 pitch. Again fouled off. So Friday night we talked about his home run. Yoshi Shingo was hit by Brad Penny. And then following that, it was Todd Zeal, the big home run in that big Met win. Rounding third base, he had some words for Penny. You see the embrace with Shinjo, said he was moved to tears by the support his teammates showed after Shinjo was hit by the pitch. And things got a little ugly for a few moments.
When you come onto a new team, you're always looking for support. You're in a new locker room, speaking not the natural language here. And that is one way the Mets could demonstrate to continue to welcome here.
Marathon at bat here for Zeal will continue with another foul ball.
So that's his 12th pitch of this at bat. Randy Wolf has thrown 59 in the game, and 12 of them have been in this at bat to Todd Zeal. We just saw from the clip from Larry Boa that he doesn't like to see this. He likes to see the aggressiveness, early strikes in the count from Randy Wolf, but get rid of those batters in a hurry. I think he'd still be proud of his pitcher right here. Keep pounding the strike zone.
Maybe a reason Randy Wolf does not have any complete games. This is 10th start of the year. Let's go back to the studio and Dave Revson.
Okay, Dave, updating you on the Tigers and the Tribe. Jim Thome
In that third inning.
coming up here with his 9th homer of the season, 242nd of his career, tying him with Albert Bell for the most as an Indian. Ellis Burks has just hit one as well, still at his 10-5 Detroit. Dave.
Well, I'll tell you, he threw it back to Dave, but I'll tell you, if Jim Thome gets hot, that team can come back from that 10-5 deficit. He has gotten off to a slow start this year. You talk to Jimmy, and he really wants to get it going because Juan Gonzalez over there is doing well. Marty Cordova has resurrected his career and doing really well. It was a minor league free agent signing over there. Non-roster has come up, done well. But Robbie Alomar, you know, over there with the Indians, you got to watch that game.
So Ventura up now. Steal aboard, none down in the 4th inning. Great shortstop in his day, Larry Bowen knows a lot about defensive alignment. He'll make a lot of adjustments. He's also not afraid to pull pitchers in tight games where they haven't got the win yet or in the winning situation enough into the 5th yet. He's also taken, they say, his ace closer out of a game that was tied. Still a save or win possible for him. So Randy Wolf's not in a safe zone despite the fact he's got the lead. Bit of a statement from Larry Bow. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, you know, you take the bull by the horns, and he goes out there and he says, I'm doing what's best for the team. It's got to be what's best for you also to keep you on a roll. But I think I'm going to keep you on a roll longer by keeping you away from tough situations.
Ventura line drive. Glanville's got a plate in the bounce. Lets it go by. Abreu will back him up. Zeal being waved in. We're tied. One apiece.
Number 5.
So Robin Ventura hits a solid line drive into center field. Doug Glanville gets to kind of a point of no return. Looks like he wanted to pull up and change his route. He decided to continue on, and this ball then started to play him. He didn't play the ball. Fortunately for the Phillies, Bobby Abreu comes around and backs up and holds Ventura to a double with only no outs, keeping him off third base. But right now, the Mets are in business, looking to try and capitalize on that mistake.
Second hit of the game for Ventura. Shinjo, the next hitter. Tsuyoshi struck out in the second on that huge swing that spun him around in the batter's box.
Well, right here with the Mets offense not doing everything they need to be doing, just needs to hit a basic ground ball to the right side of the infield and move Ventura up. Leave it to Joe McEwing to drive him in.
Line drive right field. Shinjo moves Ventura to third. Not very good wheels for Robin. He'll stay put. Tsuyoshi goes with a pitch beautifully, and the Mets in business with a tie game. Runners at the corners.
But Shinjo does a great job leaving the barrel of the bat back a little bit, driving those hands through and ripping this ball to right field, trying to hit the ball to the right side, move the runner up, and he gets a little extra here, gets a base hit out of it. Robin Ventura, because the ball was hit so hard, had to hold up at third base, first and third for the Mets with nobody out. Vern Rule out there talking to Randy Wolf. And right here, it's damage control time. As a starting pitcher, you just want to try and keep the runner on first from scoring. You really want to just sacrifice the run on third. It's still early in the game, the fourth inning. Keep the game within reach, keep your team's spirits up. Pitch for a way to get the double play ball here, sacrifice fly, trading out for a run just to keep things under control. Be interesting to see Bobby Valentine, the way he manages through this bottom of the order with McEwing and Ordonez and Al Leiter coming up. If he starts to get a little creative, hitting and running or stealing, you see, take an eye on Sinju and see what he does over there at first base. Joe McEwing can really handle the bat.
He walked on a 3-2 pitch in the second, head-to-head with Wolf. So Randy had the shutout going here into the fourth, but he had flirted with disaster as well. Only the first inning was 1-2-3 for him, otherwise in trouble throughout the second and third, and now big time here in the fourth.
Well, Todd Zeile really set up this inning, making him throw 12 pitches to him, and this inning continues. The visit from Vern Rule is a good blow for him as far as resting up, but he's going to end up throwing a lot of pitches in this inning, and we'll have to see how it goes here when he gets past 20 pitches or so, if he continues to be effective this inning or the Mets start to lay it on him. Good thing for Randy, he's down here at the bottom of the order, try and keep it together, but if he gets through these three guys and they keep this inning going, watch out at the top of the order keeps coming.
Ordonez in the hitter's slot. The next two for the Mets toward the bottom of the order. Way inside. McEwing dances out of the way. Ventura's drive, by the way, scored a single and an error on Doug Glanville, the center fielder. No RBI given as Zeile was plated on the play. Will Shinjo be in motion? 2-0. Good count for it. Good contact, hit her up.
Yeah, with Randy struggling with his control a little bit, I think he might just let Joe flat out hit right here, but we'll see.
Kuhn's only struck out 9 times this year. Sails high and deep and foul.
You know, as a starting pitcher, you'd like to throw between, 9 to 15 pitches an inning. A long inning be 17 pitches. But here, that was Randy Wolf's 21st pitch this inning. He has no outs, and he's got first and third. Like we said, fortunately for him, he's at the bottom of the order. But these are some big outs and some big pitches for him to keep this inning in order. Just looking for a ground ball double play on this 2-1 pitches. He's got 70 pitches already this game.
Talked about the trouble he had in the second and third. He did get through unscathed, but that's threatened twice. Now they're trying to cash in. Still nobody out.
He's keeping a close eye on Shinjo over there.
Shinjo not going. Wolf misses again. Now 3-1, and the hole gets a little deeper.
Well, a lot of times 3-1, 3-2, it's automatic go unless you get a stop sign. And I would say he's probably going to be running with Joe McEwing's bat control.
Tsuyoshi not going on the outside corner, breaking ball. That'll make it a full count to Joe McEwing with runners at the corner, still nobody out. What's Bobby got in mind?
I got to believe Bobby's got to have him running now. When you're not scoring runs, probably not looking for the strike him out, throw him out on that right here, but I think he's going to move him.
Not going. Waved on and missed by McEwing. Might have tipped it into the glove of the catcher, Gary Bennett. 2 down.
10, Ray Ordonez.
Well, Bobby V knows
down,
better than us. He's keeping Shinjo right over there, and Randy Wolf gets a little help there from Joe McEwing on a ball 4. Had him swinging out of his shoes, but Bobby V holding his runner, staying out of the strike him out, throw him out, and keeping an RBI situation alive for Ray Ordonez here.
Light hitting Ordonez sees the average dip to 213 with a fly out to Abreu in right in the second. His first plate appearance. Pitch out. Perhaps thinking with 1 down, Tsuyoshi was on the move.
Well, they're looking for the squeeze, I think, too. With Ray Ordonez up there, not hitting very well. A lot of swing and missing. Robin Ventura, not the best runner in the world down there at third base. But you get the squeeze, you break correctly no matter how fast you are at third base. You break correctly when that pitcher's front foot lands. You can make it on almost any bunt.
Crucial stage early here at Shea in the 4th. Ordonez rips it foul.
You know, a lot of time in these situations where there's a lot of signs being flashed, a lot of different signs, situations doesn't come up a whole lot during the year, and you got a guy like Shinjo down there at first base. If he thinks he's going to miss a sign, how does he ask Mookie Wilson what was on? I don't know if they've got hand signals or catchphrases that he's learned in English, but as an English-speaking player, it was always nice to be able to whisper in your first base coach's ear to make sure you got the sign right.
Again a pitch out, thinking something was up. Makes it 2-1 to Ray Ordonez.
Bobby wanting Ray to push that ball towards first base with that lefty on the mound. Just giving Robin Ventura the chance to just kind of trot on home, kind of a safety squeeze.
The way the Mets have struggled, they take it any way they can get it. trying there. Fans on it now. Ventura caught easily between third and home, and it backfires for Bobby Valentine and the Mets. 2 down.
Well, the squeeze was on. He got a very tough pitch to bunt. Ball is in the dirt. Breaking ball, and Ray does all he can to get a bat on it. All he wants to do is foul it off. Even get hit by it. Robin gets to go back if he gets hit by the pitch, but one doesn't hit him, and he doesn't hit it. Robin's just dead.
So we remain tied, and the once very significant threat for the Mets reduced now to a 2-2 count on the 8th place hitter. Shinjo on the plate did advance to second, so he is in scoring position for Ordonez. Now 2 outs. Wolf on the verge of escaping some serious damage.
Well, we were talking about he had reached his 20th pitch with first and third, no out, already a run in. Here he is now. He's got 28 pitches. They're going to intentionally walk Ray Ordonez to pick on Al Leiter. But his 29th pitch being the intentional walk pitch, he's done a great job in the last 9 pitches to get 2 outs and men on first and second and not another run in. Since the visit from Vern Rule, the Mets have helped him out a little bit. He's also pitched very well.
6th time this year, Ordonez has been intentionally walked to get to the pitcher's spot in the order. Just the 1 pitch at the end of his at bat. So now runners at first and second. Ordonez and Shinjo aboard. Either struck out swinging on what Orel called a pretty awful looking hack.
Pretty bad.
First at bat, that was in the 3rd. However, has worked to count to 2-0 here.
Well, Randy Wolf has got to take a breather out there on the mound, walk around, regain his composure. He's got a guy out there who doesn't have a hit this year now, Leiter. Just throw himself a basic solid strike.
There it is.
But you work so hard, you're in such a big jam, you throw 20 pitches, you got first and third, no out, already a run in. Now you get to the point where you can get out of it. You really should get out of it. Guy 0 for 13 batting against you. Just got to pretend like you're out there playing catch with your father. You're going to kneel down. You're just going to throw it right to him. Just when you're a little kid learning how to throw strikes. Just forget about the batter. Forget about the big leagues. Forget about Shea Stadium. Just throw right down the middle.
Try to do it 3 times in a row, but Leiter takes again. So the count is full with 2 down to the Mets starter.
Right here, this is a fastball down the middle like it's a 2:30 in the afternoon workout before a night game. There's no Al Leiter up there. It's just you and Gary Bennett.
Watches it go. Ball 4. Bases loaded. Back to the top of the order, and Benny Agbayani. Isn't this interesting?
Benny Agbayani.
Well, you think with 3 walks and 2 hits, 1 being a double, that the Mets would have more than 1 run. But instead, they've got bases loaded, 2 out, and their leadoff hitter and Benny Agbayani coming up. And the Mets can actually salvage this inning after really wasting away a great opportunity with first and third, no out.
Nail-biting time for Larry Boa. Agbayani hit a missile off the left field wall in his last plate appearance. Just went for a long single, that of the 3rd against Wolf.
This is a small microcosm of the Phillies' year, because Larry Boa saying coming in this series, this is our measuring stick of how we're going to turn out this year. If Randy Wolf can dig himself a hole and then come right out of it, it's going to show a lot of resilience for the pitching staff and for the club, and really show that the Phillies can compete with these frontline echelon clubs like the Mets and the Braves. It's a big at bat right here, he and Benny.
First head-to-head meeting with the Mets this year for Bobby Valentine and Larry Boa. 35 pitches this inning for Randy Wolf. He has labored, still just surrendered the 1 run. Agbayani would like to make it more. 1-1.
Well, Benny hit the first pitch changeup, and you see Randy Wolf so far has gone with 2 fastballs. Sometimes you can lose a little confidence in a pitch to a certain batter after they rip it, but you can't all of a sudden just abandon it from your repertoire.
Bases loaded for Agbayani. Big cut. Larry Bow and the Phils have played Atlanta 6 times. They're 4-2 against the Braves, 5-0 against the Marlins. Now 2-1 after winning the series with the Expos over the weekend. After the doubleheader split yesterday at Veterans Stadium. We feel this really was a big measuring stick for his team. It's the defending National League champs. Big spot here. Way inside.
And Randy Wolf walking around that mound out there, just kind of gathering himself. Thrown a lot of pitches this inning. He knows it's a big out for his team. Big out for this game. Just thinking one pitch gets me in the dugout.
Shinjo at third. Ordonez at second. Pitcher out Leiter at first. Base is loaded. Again high and tight. Control issues continue for Wolf here in the Mets 4th. He's got no one to put on Bayani. Full count. 2 down. Bases full of Mets. This Brock is up in the Phil's bullpen. Getting loose. 3-2 pitch. Foul off. Right-hand reliever. Getting ready if needed. First time today we've really seen the fans get into it. Everybody should be going. 3-2 pitch, runners on the move. Skied foul. Rowland giving a look near the tarp and out of play. About 5 rows up.
That's only been 5 rows up for the last couple of years. Those new auxiliary seats that came in for the playoffs, and now they've decided to keep them here for the full year, continuing to change the game, not comparing apples with apples anymore in the record book as this foul territory continues to change. Pitcher's got the ball back in his hand, and maybe 3 years ago that could have been an out with Scott Rowland reaching over the railing.
Showed you the 1 career grand slam Agbayani has. Does he have another one in the lumber? Everyone moving again. Swung on and foul tips. And it couldn't hang it.
And he makes a mean cut at this, just barely off of it. Fouls it back just underneath the ball. A lot of times guys will visually start to pick up the top of the ball when they miss it underneath. Instead of just looking for the whole ball, they look for the top of the ball to get more of it. See what kind of adjustment Benny makes.
Again, the 3-2 pitch again. Everyone in motion, and it's inside. He'll walk in a run. Mets have their first lead of the day.
Second baseman, number
Well,
13.
his 43rd pitch of this inning. Comes underneath it a little bit, gets it up. 92 in the game, 43 this inning. He's still in there battling. He's still got his team in the place he needs to be. But he definitely still needs one more out.
Alfonso, 0 for 2 so far. Popped out in the second, struck out. On a hit and run play. Fouls it straight back. Big cut from Algarro.
This is the kind of position, kind of that bat for Edgardo could really put him over the top and get him on track. Get himself a big 2-out RBI hit for the Mets. Put a little electricity in the ballpark, a little electricity in the in the bench, and then have Mike Piazza coming up.
Bases loaded. Center field, Glanville on the move, reaches up and makes the play. Well, the Mets do get two and take a lead in the home fourth. Long inning for Randy Wolf, but leaves the bases loaded. 2-1 game. Hits. They've got the advantage now. Special version of baseball tonight comes your way on ESPN 3:30 this afternoon. A triple header day for them. They'll be back at 10:30 Eastern at midnight as well. Brian Kenny and Peter Gammons had the first two shows. Rob Dibble joins them at midnight. They'll preview and recap the entire Memorial Day action, including David Cone against the Yanks, the big unit on the mound against Barry Bonds of the Giants. David Wells reportedly on the trading block. Jerry Emanuel said he's hurt. He is not going to pitch tonight at home against the Blue Jays. And Mark McGuire returns. Got to have some way to keep up with the 13 games and the 9 on ESPN and ESPN2. Tune in. Baseball tonight.
Wolf and Bennett there talking over the inning. They've got a lot to talk about with the 43 pitches they threw and received. And I'll tell you, you think of the two dugouts, what happened in that last inning between the Mets and the Phillies. The Phillies, even though they gave up 2 runs, got to feel pretty good about themselves to get out of that pretty much unscathed, even though for the 2.
So we saw a run get walked in when Agbayani did the 3-2 walk for the RBI. 4 walks in all, 2 singles, an error on Glanville in center. No RBI, and Ventura's shot that scored Zeal. That was crazy. Fly ball lifted toward left. Agbayani back he goes, looking up, and it's gone! Just like that, Glanville gives the Phillies a boost, and we are tied at 2 to lead off the 5th.
Well, we saw early in the game a pop fly out to right field. Joe McEwing really had to battle it. He continued to battle it as it moved him farther and farther from right field to left field, finally rescuing the ball around second base. Well, Doug Glanville took a ride on that same wind by hitting a solid fly ball to left field. Probably should have ended up on a non-windy day around the warning track. Benny Agbayani playing it like that, and you could see right there that stutter step. It caught the jet stream and just took it out of here.
Not even close, well beyond the wall. Glanville hits his 8th of the year and ties the game at 2. We've seen some wild turns and twists in our Memorial Day special from Shea. Brings up the star rookie shortstop Jimmy Rollins. He's 2 for 2, a double to left, stole third, scored on a Abreu single. That was in the first, and reached on the bunt single in the third.
Little spark for Randy Wolf here, battling through a tough long inning, only giving up the 2 runs with his control problems. Now Doug Glanville, the first batter, puts him right back to even. Got to feel a little bit refreshed. Doug Glanville with his 8th home run, just taking a ride on that wind out there to left field.
Big hack from Rollins, and down he goes. Let's go back to the studio, Dave Revson.
The right fielder, number 53.
Okay, Dave, Brewers and Cards, and yes, Big Mac is back, playing first base for the first time since April 15th. This is first at bat. Grounds into a double play. Does get down the line fairly well, though. Good to see him back in there. This one is scoreless in the third, Dave.
That it is, Dave. Thanks. Big Mac returns. 3rd strikeout for Leiter a moment ago as Rollins goes down hacking. Here's Abreu.
Bobby perfect on the day with the walk and the base hit with the RBI. One of the main cogs in this Philly offense. Always going to be a consistent hitter with his pretty swing. Just very balanced, fluid. Don't really see him take many bad swings. He's very calm in the batter's box. Very laid back kind of guy. Nice, easy rhythm about him. Even the way he jumps out of the way of an inside fastball kind of has a nice rhythm to it and elegance.
Graceful all the way around, huh?
Yeah.
Single to left, plating Rollins in the first. Orel told you about, and the walk as well in the third. Leiter in a hole, 3-1 with 1 down. So the dugout really getting a boost. Not only they avoid the huge Met inning, in the home fourth, just surrendered 2 runs. And suddenly Glanville goes deep to left. This one's skied toward left as well. Plenty of room though for Agbayani, although it does drift a bit. As Orel's pointing to him, be sure you give yourself some room, Benny.
As soon as that ball went up in the air, I'm waving Benny Agbayani back. He's playing here the 1 year with the Mets here in Shea, and then many years with the Dodgers. This place, once the wind shows itself, you really need to play it. It doesn't change very much once it gets going. And it is strong today once it gets above that second deck.
Third baseman Scott rolling next with 2 down in the 5th. Rolling over 2, grounded out to third. Robin Ventura in the first. Also struck out swinging in the third against Al Leiter. Interesting to see how long Larry Boa goes with Wolf. He did dodge the big bullet in that 4th inning, but the pitch count is way up there. Remember, this is a pitcher who was miserable in spring training and in April. He's been just brilliant in the month of May. Perfect.
Well, you know, as a starting pitcher, you don't have every outing where everything is perfect. And Larry Boa talked about the way Randy Wolf turned his year around from the slow start was to start to be aggressive with his fastball, command of his fastball. And we saw in that 1 inning right there, that was the downfall of that inning.
Roland pops it up. Ventura called off by Ordonez, drifts into foul ground, puts it away. For the 3rd out of the 5th, however, Doug Glanville ties this game. 8th homer of the year into the jet stream in left field, making this a 2-2 contest from Shea Stadium. It was as well here at Shea.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and an extra special thank you to the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who are here with us for today's game.
Two game. See a lot of the members of the Navy here.
A lot of the things that we take for granted, those men protect. You got to just take your hats off to them, and when you pass them on the streets, look them in the eye and thank them. Especially the families also that have put the sacrifices in, the moms and dads and the sons and daughters that end up not having fathers or mothers because of the sacrifice. It's awesome to live in this country. Awesome to enjoy this game also.
Piazza 0 for 2 so far. Grounded out to third and flew out to Abreu in right as well. 3rd inning. Make it 1-1.
Well, Mike Piazza hasn't had many bad months in his career. The one back there in '92 is his first month in the big leagues with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Very consistent, very productive hitter. You know you're not going to keep this guy down very long.
So the average dipping down again for Mike Piazza. .328 career hitter coming into this season. That is a brilliant track record. Hard to keep that up year in and year out, but you got to wonder about injuries, pressure playing in New York. He's been here a while.
Well, he's an outstanding hitter, and he just absolutely loves it here in New York. It's been a great trade for him to get over here. They've been to the playoffs, World Series. He loves playing for Bobby Valentine, Tommy Lasorda's godson. If this guy can't survive in New York, no one can.
1-2 from Wolf. Ripped to left. First hit of the game for Mike Piazza. Leading off the fifth.
The first baseman, number 9, Hershiser.
That's a good sign for the Mets. Mike Piazza getting on top of a high fastball. It was a ball, but he didn't pop it up. He had enough strength and enough wherewithal with his swing and eye-hand coordination to get on top of that ball. Starts the Mets off with a nice solid single.
Well, Piazza's teammates after that big win yesterday over the Marlins acknowledging that he is their team. No question. Offensively, the whole machine is driven by Mike Piazza. And a real spark in the dugout whenever he can come up big at the plate. So there is a lot of pressure on someone like that. He said, look, I'm not going to pop the champagne after the home run yesterday, just taking the little small steps first.
Well, when you talk about Mike Piazza and you talk about how strong he is and he can get on top of the ball, when we talk about getting on top of the ball as a hitter, a lot of times when you're hitting, the pitcher wants to throw the ball above the hands, so the hands will do this and get under it and pop it up. But Mike Piazza had enough strength, enough wherewithal from his hands to get here and then top hand that ball almost like a tennis racket and get on top of it. Keep the barrel of the bat a little bit higher when you do that, and it gets on top of the ball. And that ball actually had downspin when it went out to left field. I mean, if you look at this swing, you see where his hands start. And his hands stay at the same level, and you can see those hands have to roll over as high as they were. A lot of hitters not that strong. As you move in that 34.5-inch bat, about 34 ounces. It's a big weight to keep swinging level, especially on that high pitch. A lot of hitters will have a tendency as that ball is coming in to drop their hands, but Mike recognized that pitch early, and because of the good mechanics in his swing, had his hands still at the top of the strike zone and was able to force and roll over that pitch and do a really good job.
Wolf really getting up there in the pitch count, over 100 now. Into the fifth, nobody down though as Piazza leads off with a single to left. Zeal rips this one to right. Abreu, warning track, reaching up, can't make the play off the wall. Piazza had to wait to make sure it wasn't caught. He'll cruise into third, and the Mets in business again here in the home fifth.
The third baseman, number 4, Robert Ventura.
If Bobby Abreu would have taken a little heads-up look at what the wind's been doing to other fly balls, you'd know that the ball in right field is going to get knocked down, not continue to carry. Got a little lost on the warning track. The warning track here at Shea is a little wider than most warning tracks. A lot of them are 3.5 steps. One here at Shea is about 6.5 steps. And he really thought he was near the wall, but he wasn't even close yet.
Talk about a great hitting situation for a great hitter. Ventura, a single that scored Zeal. Did not get credit for the RBI. The ball was booted by Glanville in center. That was in the fourth, that long inning. 2 for 2. Started the day at 297, so the average soars above 300. Piazza and Zeal aboard. Swung on and missed. Piazza, thanks to the single that Orel broke down, ripped to left at third base. And Todd Zeal, maybe a gift double out there. But Bobby V will take it.
Well, Randy Wolf with his pitch count getting up there and Shinjo on deck. Chris Bach heated and ready in the bullpen. This could be his last batter.
Ventura patient. Shinjo on deck. Looked like a changeup. Ventura fooled. Some trouble. Abreu now calls off Perez at second. And Piazza cannot advance. Let's go back to the studio. Dave Rep.
Thank you, Dave. I want to update you on the Cubs and the Reds. Chicago on top 4-3 in this one in the sixth. When Kelly Stinnett comes through, the double down the line scores Sean Casey and Juan Castro. Knocked out Cubs starter Julian Tavares. Gives Cincy the 5-4 lead. And that's where it stands, Dave.
All right, Dave, thanks. Wild game going on there. Back and forth. Here at Shea, we've had some interesting fireworks to this point. Very unusual fourth inning when the Mets scored 2. Glanville came back in the visiting fifth with a leadoff homer, and now Shinjo's going to be put aboard. Intentional walk with 1 down.
Well, you're getting to the bottom of the order a little bit quicker by putting this intentional walk on. You're eliminating a 300 hitter. Joe McEwing just struck out his last at bat, and Ray Ordonez has not been swinging a big-time bat. So manager Larry Boa playing the odds and moving on down the order to get to the weaker end of this Mets team.
Maybe early in the game to see Lenny Harris, a pinch hit star for the Mets, who came through with the game winner yesterday against Florida. So Larry Boa has filled the bases with Mets again. Randy Wolf has just been flirting with disaster all day. Lenny Harris, 4th all-time pinch hits. 138.
Now Larry Boa made a smart move right here, because you could have Randy Wolf pitch around Shinjo and tell him, go out there, go with your best stuff, throw everything hard in the dirt. But you know what, with his pitch count being so high, he needs to rest him and just give him the 4 basics, ones wide. Let him rest up to try and get McEwing right here.
Struck out swinging in the 4th, part of that wild inning we told you about. Mets did play 2, though, in the home 4th. Threatening again.
Joe's got to make him get the ball down. The last at bat, he went up the ladder on him. Kind of overswung at a high inside fastball. He wants to have a good at bat here. He's got to make him get the ball down out over the plate.
Those were the numbers Larry Boa was thinking about. Bases loaded. McEwing up there. Not very effective. This one he sprays foul.
Well, that's the kind of pitch right there that Randy Wolf says, boy, I think I can get out of this inning, because he just grooved a fastball right down the middle and did not get hurt. It got fouled off. Now he's got an 0-2 count with the bases loaded, but he's right where he wants to be, where he can take a shot or two and try and strike McEwing out, or throw a couple good low pitches below the knees. Look for that double play ball.
Piazza, Seal, Shinjo aboard. But McEwing in an 0-2 hole. Curveball got him. Badly fooled by the breaking pitch. Second time in 2 innings, McEwing has gone down on strikes with the Mets threatening.
The situational hitting today by the New York Mets has not been the best. And one of the cardinal sins with runners in scoring position and less than 2 outs is to strike out looking. You've got to put the ball in play, and you've got to swing the bat. Joe McEwing knows that better than any. If you talk to him after the game, he'd tell you that was a mistake.
So Ordonez skies it foul. That's out of play. Ray was intentionally walked to get to Leiter, who also walked. Bayani followed with yet another walk in that topsy-turvy 4th for the Mets, where they scored 2.
It's hard to believe in the 4th and 5th innings we have 5 walks and 3 hits by the Mets, and they've only gotten 2 runs, and here they've got bases loaded, 2 outs still.
Good chance for Ordonez to break out. He's 0 for 13 in the homestand so far. Lifted to center, but Glanville was playing well in. Positioned perfectly, and the Phils again avoid big trouble. How many times has Randy Wolf kept his team alive and stayed in the game? We're tied 2 apiece at Chip. For the Mets in the last 2 innings, just 2 runs across. 9 left on for the game now as they strand 3 in the 5th. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel stops off in St. Louis this weekend. The Cardinals host the Reds, and yes, Big Mac is back. Dave Rebson in the studio showed us his first bat since April. Returns against the Brewers. As always, join John Miller, Joe Morgan with a call. For more MLB coverage, log on to ESPN.com. Should be fun. Now the big fella's back. Pat Burlow for 2 so far. Rounded out the 3rd in the 1st inning. Ventura flew out to right. Joe McEwing in the 3rd.
Al Leiter with a rare changeup right there. Been really living with that cut fastball, as we said. He's mixed in a few curveballs, but I think that's the first changeup he's thrown today. And a little frustrating for Al, I'm sure. He's been sitting on the bench the last 2 innings, watched his team set the table a couple times, had bases loaded, 2 out, 1 out, first and third, no out. He's still on the mound in a tie game. Makes it pretty tough for him to continue to concentrate. Joe McEwing wished he could have came through for his mound mate.
On to Burrell. Inside tight.
You know, we highlighted Pat Burrell in the offensive situation at the beginning of the game when we did the lineups, and we talked about the inside fastball, the quick hands, the unlimited potential he's got. This guy can really swing the bat.
Ripped to center. Shinjo trouble. Came in too far. Burrell's going to keep on going. He'll get to third easily here. And more defensive trouble in the outfield, this time for the Mets to lead off the 6th.
Well, it has not been a defensive clinic for
First
the center
baseman,
fielders
number 23,
today. Doug
Kevin
Glanville
Jordan.
had trouble with the ball earlier. Benny Agbayani in left field out of trouble. Here's Shinjo. Just comes in 1 or 2 steps further. I think that wind is really messing with these guys today. We're seeing a lot of guys misread balls. Abreu in right earlier. Pat Burrell, big guy, ends up with a triple. Ran pretty good over there for a big guy.
So now Burrell at third. And Jordan up. He is twice grounded out to the shortstop Ordonez in the 2nd and in the 4th. Just misses. Score a triple. Well, Shinjo did have trouble in center field, as we saw. So Yoshi came in a little too far. Never got a piece of the ball. So outfield really all the way around. Like Bayani early in the game. Abreu on the double from Zeal. And then Shinjo on the scored triple from Burrell. Little nubber up the middle. Leiter will make sure Burrell's going nowhere. And toss to Zeal in plenty of time.
Catcher number 4, Gary Bennett.
One down to the 6th. Bennett slated next. Single to left in the 4th.
Al Leiter just gets in Kevin Jordan's kitchen right here with this cut fastball. He just wears him out. Al does a good job bluffing the runner back and getting his out. He's still got a challenge in front of him with a man on third and Burrell and 1 out.
2-2 game. This really has been a circus of an outing so far. Could have been either way. A big score for the Mets or Phils, but especially New York with the opportunities they had in the 4th and 5th. Just 2 runs to show for it. Especially 5th inning, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out.
We see there with the Mets infield, the infield on the right side is in pretty deep, in pretty close, and the one on the left side is back a little bit. Ray Ordonez with the strong arm. The ball could be hit a little bit harder to the left side with a right-handed hitter.
Bennett lifts to the center. That's plenty deep to score. Burrow will tag up. Shinjo will show off the arm. Not a bad toss, but not in time to get Pat Burrell. The sac fly from Gary Bennett gives the Phillies a lead.
The second baseman, number 13, Tomas Perez.
But Gary Bennett has not hurt this Phillies team at all behind the plate today. Day game after the doubleheader, getting his chance to start and get in there and coaxing Randy Wolf through some tough innings. Now he's got his team up on top with a base hit and now a sac fly, filling in quite admirably for Mike Lieberthal.
I'll say, and he really did have to help coach through some difficult times on the mound in this game for Wolf. Sky towards short. Ordonez plenty of time. Win in the sun. Don't bother the slick fielding shortstop one bit. Now Leiter does fall behind this game, though. Some trouble from Shinjo in center. Scored a triple over his head. He came in on Bennett's sac fly. This is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Log on to MLB.com today to cast your Radio Shack All-Star online ballot and vote for your favorite All-Stars. Major League Baseball, connect with it. Darrell Hamilton will pinch hit here for Al Leiter to lead off the home sixth, who is one of the big heroes in yesterday's win over the Marlins. However, the number on the far left still not, as Dennis Cook gets ready to come in, what Darrell Hamilton would like. He really heard it from the fans here yesterday. Some boo birds. This one a shot toward Perez. Tomas makes the play. One down.
The left fielder, number 50, Benny Agbayani.
Well, Darrell Hamilton did get a key hit last night, and he wanted to get one right there, but read the papers around New York. That man right there, they just had a baby about 3 months ago, and he went home and holds his child in his arms, says, I'm a hero at home. They can boo me at the park, they can cheer me at the park, but every night I'm big league at home.
3-week-old son, Donovan Quinn, his first child, who said he will not boo me. One person I know is not gonna, maybe a goo-goo, but
yeah, but he hasn't said his first word yet. Let's see if his first word is boo.
3 weeks, not much going on there.
You know Darrell's not coming around any corners going boo, boo.
Agbayani rattled one off the wall and left in the third. Walked with the bases loaded in the fourth. Got an RBI. The lone Met RBI in this game. That's because Ventura's shot in the fourth. Caught by Glanville for an error. No RBI given when Zeal scored. Talk about voting at MLB.com for All-Stars. I'm not sure if we've seen much All-Star caliber performance out here today so far, but it's only the sixth inning.
Yeah, it's been kind of shaky out there, especially on the defensive side. And if you look at the Mets have only gone 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. They've had bases loaded, 2 out, bases loaded, 1 out, first and third, no out. But with the runners in scoring position, they have not hit.
Vitalico is up in the Phil's bullpen should they need him. Ewing really had his struggles. Twice struck out with
Edgardo Alfonso.
runner at third and less than 2 outs, including in the home fifth. And Wolf another strikeout as he convinced Larry Boa between the last inning to stay in the game for at least one more frame, and he was in there for the sixth. 2 down for Alfonso.
This is the kind of outing that really could get Randy Wolf on a roll. I know coming in here, he's been the best pitcher in May in the National League. He's been hot. But to have a rough outing, what could really be considered a rough outing, to dodge a bullet 2 or 3 different innings, and then to come out of this possibly with a W, but really a good solid outing statistically for your team and to eat up some innings. It's the kind of thing that you get over the hump in this one. The next 4 or 5 outings could really, watch him on the leaderboards, the different pitching categories, would really launch him up there.
Told you about Wolf being top 20 in the ERA in the National League coming into this affair today with the Mets. In May, he's been amazing. Coming in 3-0, 1.23 earned run average, 4 starts, 39 strikeouts, 11 walks. However, base on ball status ballooned a bit here today.
Well, this will be an anomaly, hopefully, for him. He'll finish off May with a good, strong statistics and head into June. And the way these Phillies have been building this run that they're on at the top of the National League East, he's been at the heart of that, especially what he's done here in May.
5 walks, 5 strikeouts.
And you talk so much about pitching, you know, being able to throw strikes, being able to throw strikes to both sides of the plate, like Larry Boa said in the clip about Randy. Then having a breaking ball and a changeup you can get over, just upsetting the hitter's timing.
Alfonso 0 for 3. Popped up. Left field. Burrell flips down the shades and makes the easy play. So Wolf continues to pitch well and continues to enjoy a 3-2 lead.
Let's journey back to Dave.
Top of the 7th, Shea Stadium Memorial Day special here on ESPN2. Phils and Mets. Philadelphia enjoying the 1-run 3-2 lead. We showed you in the home 6th. Darrell Hamilton pinch hitting for Al Leiter. Dennis Cook, another left-hander, comes into the game, making for him this year his 22nd appearance.
Well, he's a great setup man. They've had a lot of great setup men come through here in New York. They've got Turk Wendell down there in the bullpen, Dennis Cook, John Franco's been a closer,
Pinch
now
hitting for the
setup man for
Philadelphia
Armando
Phillies.
Benitez.
Number 12, Brian Hunter.
Go across, take the subway over to New York. Instead, Stanton and Rivera, Rob Nelson, who's now gone on to Seattle. So some great bullpen guys here in the city of New York.
Speaking of the bullpen, Phil's will have to go to it. Wolf is done. Pinch hitter Ryan Hunter will take him out of the game officially here in the 7th to lead things off. Showed a bunt, takes a strike.
Well, that young man right there battled very well. Showed a lot of courage, a lot of endurance, a lot of moxie for a second-year player. 11-9 his rookie year. Really battled him today.
Led the Phillies in wins last year. That was a disastrous team. 30-plus games out of first place for Terry Francona in the NL East a year ago. But part of the big resurgence here in 2001. Unbelievable story in Philadelphia. This continues. Worst to first. Always fun in any sport. Especially unexpected. Hunter's got some wheels. Twice led the league, American League that is, stolen bases. Once with Seattle, once with Detroit. Good speed if he can get on. He will not. One down to the 7th. Worst to first. This since 1990, the Diamondbacks did it under our now ESPN commentator Buck Showalter. Padres as well. They've been a great story in the NL West. Dusty Baker and the Giants. Phillies did it once already. The Mitch Williams year.
Yeah.
Twins won it in '91. One of their 2 World Series in franchise history. Ventura on the move. Will not get Doug Glanville's at a big day. Let's go to Bob Stevens in the studio.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Let's go to Baltimore. Josh Towers in his first major league start for the Orioles had the Rangers shut out through 6, but then Frank Catalanato and the big cat, Andres Galarraga, go back-to-back jacks. Rangers lead 2-1, bottom of the 7th.
By the Rangers.
All right, Bob. Some fireworks there. Here, the small ball variety.
Well, just an awesome bunt here. Just deadens the ball perfectly, and if Robin Ventura can't throw you out, nobody can. He is one of the best in the business at this play. You see, he doesn't even take a step. He grabs it and throws no matter what position his body's in. Doug Glanville with his wheels and the great deadening of the ball very easily beat it.
Here's Rollins, who's been a thorn in the Mets side today. Speaking of bunt singles, had one of his own against Al Leiter in the 3rd. Doubled, stole a base, scored on an Abreu single in the 1st. Struck out swinging against the Mets starter in the 5th inning. He's 2 for 3.
See if Larry Boa creates any action here with Glanville over there at first. The viewers at home wondering, how does Todd Zeile know when Dennis Cook is going to come over there? How does he reads him just as much as he reads the pitcher reads the runner. So Todd Zeile is just going completely on Dennis Cook like he was the runner also, and he can read Dennis Cook and knows to get back or fake.
Glanville picked off. Zeile, Ordonez, Doug Glanville, and easy out. But now they're calling a balk. Balk being called against Dennis Cook. Bobby Valentine will come out to protest. So Glanville's going to get second base after all.
Well, Angel Hernandez sitting there warning Bobby Valentine not to come out and argue a balk. You get automatically ejected if you do that. Dennis Cook can argue it, but Bobby Valentine can't come out of the dugout and argue it. Dennis, I think the balk was called because he thought he broke the 45-degree angle with his foot. He has to step towards first base before he can deliver the ball there. Let's see how he steps. And I think Angel Hernandez, pointing at his right lead foot, says that he went over the 45-degree line. If you look at that angle again, you can see right about here, right on that line. You drew a 45-degree angle right there. He's got to be on the left side of this angle in here, so that he's got to keep his foot over there. And my drawing is not accurate. Angel Hernandez thought, there's no way, that's a balk. You got to step towards first base.
This changes things dramatically for the Mets. They thought they had 2 down, nobody out. Instead, Glanville at second in scoring position, 1 down, and a 1-0 count to the very dangerous Jimmy Rollins.
You can see he's stepping, and he does open up, but I'll tell you, I've seen a lot worse than that not get called a balk. That was pretty much towards first base. I think Dennis will want Angel to look at that one after the game.
Glanville bluffing but not going anywhere. Rollins takes a strike. It's 1-1. You see Glanville kind of hesitate. Wasn't sure where Cook was going. He was badly fooled at first.
Well, he definitely was picked off.
Can Cook get the Mets out of further trouble is the question.
Well, here's a situation as an athlete when you think you've caught a bad break as far as the umpiring is concerned, is that adrenaline rush, that argument. And now you can't just kind of dwell on it and give up. You've got to say, you know what, I'm going to take this adrenaline, I'm going to take this aggressiveness, I'm going to put it into what's going to help me right now, which is to throw good quality strikes here and get this hitter out.
Long look at the runner. Misses outside. Dennis Cook were a lot like Leiter, very emotional. Not one to hide his feelings out there.
A very intense individual and a great teammate. Another one like Leiter that's just awesome to have in the clubhouse. Always pulling for everybody.
Being careful with Rollins here. Catches the outside corner. Count is full.
Great pitch right there. Low and away right on the black. Dennis doing a good job nibbling away here from Jimmy Rollins, staying away from what he showed as his power, which is to pull right now. With that open stance there, looking like he can handle that inside fastball very well, trying to stay away, see if he can get him to pull off the ball. Dennis coming inside.
3-2 pitch, foul back.
Well, Dennis thought he had him set up for something inside, tried to sneak that fastball in there after living away a little bit. Jimmy Rollins doing a good job making a great swing at that pitch. Got 2 eyes on the pitcher. Nice open stance. Young man's making an impact on this Phillies team.
Like to extend the impact here. Again, the payoff pitch. This time, waves and misses. Working the plate beautifully. Cook. Great location. Let's go back to Bob Stevens.
The right fielder.
Thanks, Dave. We take you to Busch Stadium. Ball game, Milwaukee Cardinals scoreless bottom of the 4th. Big Mac back in the lineup, grounded into a double play his first time up, but singles off Paul Rigdon in the bottom of the 4th. Comes around to score on a double by J.D. Drew and a sacrifice fly by Ray Langford. Redbirds on top 1-0, top of the 5th.
All right, Bob. Big Mac not only returns, but he's on base. Hey, Bobby Valentine and the Mets down by 1, 7th inning with a couple down. And Cook in relief of the starter out Leiter to face Bobby Abreu. Singled the RBI scoring Rollins to the 1st to left. Walked in the 3rd, flew out to left in the 5th. With Glanville in scoring position. Rick White in the bullpen for the Mets in case they need him. Abreu's ready. Sidearm.
Dennis Cook will drop down on you. He'll change angles. He's got that fastball that rides into lefties, has a little sink action. He's got the cutter that'll come in on you. Got a good little breaking ball. And when he needs to change the variety, give you a new look, he can drop down and go Laredo from Texas.
Well inside. Did you ever drop down and change your arm slot?
I did earlier in my career, and then after I really found the release point on my sinker, I really did not want to change up and really lose my release point on my sinker, so I stayed more with the 3/4 arm delivery, and through the prime of my career really never had a reason to go away from that.
David Cohn's a good example of someone.
Well, he'll experiment, he'll invent and do everything, and he's pitching later today.
13 games going on. Part of our ESPN and ESPN2 coverage. Lanville on the move. He is going. Abreu rips it towards second. Fonzo. No troubles at second there to Todd Zeile. Phils are down in the seventh inning stretch time. Dennis Cook and Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire. A bit of an argument over the balk call.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Here with the Home Depot in-game box score. Mets getting some production from the meat of the order, but still trail 3-2 to the first place Philadelphia Phillies. First meeting of this season between these two rivals in the National League East. First of many. Piazza leads off home seventh. New pitcher in the game, right-hander Ricky Batalco.
Ricky's going to attack you with the 4 basic pitches. Main concern with him is control. He needs to be able to control at least 2 of those 4 pitches. But so far this year, he's been doing a yeoman's job.
Good setup man from Mesa. Foul back. Travis Lee moves in, replacing Kevin Jordan at first. And stay in Jordan's slot in the batting order for the Phillies as well. 6th hole behind Pat Burrell. He has 1 for 3, single left in the 5th. Also flew out to right and grounded to third. 1 for 3. Ripped up the middle, base hit.
Well, his last at bat, we talked a lot about him staying on top of an inside fastball. This at bat, he drops the head on a fastball that's right down the middle of the plate. Ricky Batalco was trying to throw a sinker inside. Mike Piazza just dropped the head of it, hit himself a line drive to center field.
Good start for the Mets in the home 7th. Zeile walked and scored in the 4th. And shot to left for a double in the 5th. One for 2. Franco is getting ready in the Met bullpen as well. Showed you White a few moments ago, getting loose. Similar start to the Met 5th, where they had a big threat. Piazza led off that single left, and then Zeile doubled him to third. But the Mets could not cash in. The 2 runs came in the 4th inning. Starter Randy Wolf. Now it's Batalco in relief of Wolf, trying to preserve the lefty's win.
You talk to Larry Bow, and he talks about the bullpen at the tail end of the game. If he can get to the 7th inning and have a lead, he thinks he's pretty golden. These Mets will have another thing to say about it, because in their last, they've had 6 wins in their last 6 of 9 wins. They've all been comeback wins. They haven't broken on top. So this is not new territory for the Mets. They've been coming from behind and actually have been quoted as saying that's the way they know how to win. Not something you want to practice, but it's a good thing to have in your arsenal.
Now we asked Robin Ventura about that during batting practice today. What is it about this Met team that always have to come back to win? It's kind of a characteristic, but not a bad one to have. Always believing. Batalco, good setup man for Jose Mesa. That's what Larry Boa is hoping will transpire here today. Does have the 2 saves we saw. Just under a 2.60 ERA.
Well, Ricky and Orel, Cormier, and then Jose Mesa. Mesa one off the league lead in saves with 14 behind Jeff Shaw of LA. He's the guy they're trying to get to.
That may be a while. Zales worked the count full. Piazza already at first base with a leadoff single.
You know, you look at the Phillies' overall stats throughout the year, and they've been talking about this has been built on starting pitching, a great bullpen, occasional offense, and good solid defense, outstanding defense. And it really shows up in the stats. They're 12-5 in one-run games.
Zia lifts it to center. Glanville, plenty of time. They'll put it away. First out of the home 7th. Coming up later today here on ESPN2, Rockies and the Dodgers, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Then at 7, we told you about David Cohn and his creative pitch selection. Looks for revenge as the Red Sox and the Yanks continue their storied rivalry. 4 o'clock over on ESPN, Randy Johnson, the D-backs visit Pac Bell and the Giants and Barry Bonds. Regional action as the Angels at the D-Rays. 7:30, John Smoltz continuing to come back as the Braves host the Expos. Some of you will see the Marlins and the Pirates. 9 of the 13 games going on the big leagues on this Memorial Day. Being televised by ESPN2 and ESPN. We got you covered. Don't forget all the Baseball Tonight selections. You can't go wrong.
If you love baseball, this is the place to be.
Talked about Ventura and his support of his team's comeback efforts. He has a chance to contribute directly here.
Probably some guys at home having to negotiate with the powers that be at which games and what time they can be watching.
So we need picture-to-picture, multiple sets, right? A lot of options these days. I know a lot of guys who bring multiple TVs to one room.
For sure. Special days like this.
College football Saturdays, or days like this where you have the multiple selections. Ventura's got a couple of hits today. But with a great chance, runners at 2nd and 3rd. In the 5th, nobody out. Popped out to Perez at 2nd. Usual for Robin not to deliver with men in scoring position in less than 2 out. Great contact hitter. And is he patient?
Robin Ventura has good power. But I'll tell you, the outfield out here, Bobby Abreu is playing here. He is scraping the back of the wall out there after getting fooled on that warning track. He is not going to have a ball hit over his head that he misplays.
But he surrenders the dunker. Ventura can put it there. Fouls it straight back. Well out of play.
Oh, it's interesting about playing that deep in right field with a man on first with Mike Piazza's speed. Any base hit through the right side of the infield here, he's playing so deep that Piazza's going to be able to get to 3rd and have the tying run on 3rd with less than 2 outs. If he doesn't give away as much on the fly ball and takes a little away on the ground ball base hit, he might be able to hold Piazza to 2nd base, keep the double play in order, and keep the runner off 3rd with less than 2 out.
2-2 to Robin Ventura. Tap foul. John Stearns, 3rd base coach, still has the good hands. In his days behind the plate here at Shea Stadium. My top memory of John Stearns, there was a fan that had run onto the field here, and he was catching. He was a great football player in his day, and I happened to be in the ballpark as a youngster. He tackled him with a perfect form football tackle. I don't think that guy ever went back onto a field again. I'd be surprised.
I think we got a taste of John Stearns' intensity when he wore the mic in the playoffs and he was yelling about the monsters out of the cage, the monsters out of the cage, when Piazza would get his hit. Mike Piazza wasn't too fond of that. Now he's getting called monster around all of baseball, especially at opposing ballparks.
Talco in a bit of trouble against Ventura.
Well, Bobby Valentine has not been very aggressive with his runners so far, and somebody with the speed of Mike Piazza, I'm not sure he's going to start him here, but Bobby's thrown many of us a curve when it comes to in-game strategy. There goes Piazza.
Up to right center. Abreu over. Able to track it down. Piazza's going to have to hustle back. Lee hoping to stretch and double him up, but the throw is just a little bit late. Piazza bolts back, and we bolt back to the studio on Bob Stevens.
The center fielder, number 5, Tsuyoshi Shinjo.
We take you to Synergy Field after Sammy Sosa races home with the tying run. Danny Graves on to pitch to Julio Zuleta. Hitting for Kyle Farnsworth. Zuleta's base hit, scores pinch runner. Yep, that's Kerry Wood with the tie-breaking run. 6-5 Cubs, bottom of the 8th.
Bob, thanks. I thought that was Kerry Wood. Whoa. Rounding the bases. Lumbering, I think, would be a good description. You ever pinch run?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
It's a good way to get a manager on the hot seat. Pinch running franchise pitchers. You tell Kerry, do not slide head first. Don Baylor would not want Kerry Wood getting hurt on the base paths.
Don't think so.
Especially, I think his last outing, he was really rolling. I mean, 15, 16 strikeouts, was looking at a no-hitter through 5 or 6.
Shinjo already at an 0-2 hole. Tsuyoshi struck out swinging in the 2nd. Single. Scored in the 4th. Intentionally walked in the 5th. Mets try not to squander the leadoff single from Mike Piazza. Did he hold up? Hunter or Wendelstedt. First base umpire says yes. Let's have Darren Bragg in the on-deck circle in case Shinjo can get on. He has pretty much taken over the leadoff duty with Jay Payton being injured. Payton's still a couple of weeks from coming back with a hamstring. Bragg has played well since his call from AAA Norfolk. That's not doing well there, though, as Shinjo K's after the leadoff single from Mike Piazza, keeping this a 3-2 game at Shea.
Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins present
ESPN2's Major League Baseball is brought to you by SportsCenter. Which SportsCenter do you watch?
third baseman, number 17, Scott Rowland.
We check again with the Home Depot in-game box score. Landville has the home run, and Burrell scored after the triple went over the head of Shinjo. Misplayed. That is the go-ahead run right now. 3-2 Phillies lead, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Mets.
Rick White, another great middle reliever for the Mets here. He's a 5-pitch pitcher, believe it or not. He's got the fork ball in there compared to the fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. This guy's been on the DL twice this year. The Mets need him to stay healthy. He's had a little shoulder problem, a little irritation there in the rotator cuff, but these are the kind of innings that they need him to eat up, to give him a shot to come back in this game.
Scott Rowland will lead things off, visiting 8th here for the Phils. Rolling over 3 so far. Ripped down the left field line, but a hooking foul and out of play. $23 major transactions for the Mets in April and May. 14 in May alone. You talked about injuries. They have been not only nicked up, but really banged up this year.
Well, they really have. And think back early in spring training with the problems that Gary Sheffield was having out in L.A. and the trade rumors that were going around. The Mets were a major player there.
This is ripped to right field. Down the line and foul it goes. McEwing stays in the game. He was to be pinch hit for by Darren Bragg had the Mets kept the 7th going. Still in there.
We were talking about possible Gary Sheffield trade over here, how a good fit, but they've really been nicked up even since then. They were looking for a little more depth and power in the outfield. They've had Benny Agbayani out. He's still in there now. Timo Perez has a growing. Jay Payton, another outfield guy. Darryl Hamilton's been down. Really, if you look at the Mets offense and you hope that it's going to get going, a lot of those guys in the outfield are going to have to create some production. And even if they have all the guys healthy, the ones that are on the roster currently, there's not a lot of power in those guys.
kind of basic number 2 leadoff hitter, number 7 kind of hitters. Nobody's really going to sink in the middle of their order.
Just don't have a lot of hitters who are going to scare you too much. Diving attempt, Ordonez in the hole, but Rollins aboard. First hit of the game for Scott Rowland. A sharp single to left, leading off the 8th inning for the Phils.
The left fielder, number 5, Pat Burrell.
Scott Rowland hits this ball sharply. You can see Ray Ordonez cheating. Knew the ball was going to be an inside fastball, and almost the cheat paid off, picking up the signal from Mike Piazza on where the pitch was going to be, knowing Scott Rowland's tendency on a fastball inside to be hit that way. But Rowland hit it sharp enough to get it through that hole anyway, even though Ordonez was cheating that way.
So it's Burrell. A triple to center field at Shinjo, misplayed in the 6th and then scored on the sac fly from Gary Bennett. And that's how the Phils have scratched out the 3-2 lead. One for 3 for Burrell. Ground ball again. Ordonez trying to backhand it and can't come up with the ball cleanly. Skips into left. And the Phils have something going here in the 8th, already up by 1.
The first baseman, number 16, Travis Lee.
Well, they talk about this game being a game of inches. Ray Ordonez on the last ball that was a line drive hit by Scott Rowland, cheating on an inside fastball. Here he's cheating up the middle because of the possible double play situation, and just out of the outstretched hands of Ray there. We talk about Ray's great range, his ability to cheat on the ball depending on where the signal is for the pitch. He did everything he could there in those last 2 balls to get outs, but balls were just hit too sharply and right in the right spot.
Still nobody out. John Franco's up in the Mets bullpen in case White needs him, and he might. Runners at first and second. Lee is now the batter with his 9 home runs, including a 3-run shot he hit Friday in the win over Montreal. Charlie Huff, pitching coach, is coming out. We may have ourselves a double switch. Darren Bragg is going to come out. Looks like the center for Shinjo. And that could be the end of White.
You know, this is the beginning of a double switch. The defensive player needs to be inserted before the pitcher is changed. New rule about 3 years ago put in. The umpire needs to have the report from the manager or the pitching coach about the double switch prior to crossing the line.
So John Franco, the Met captain, will come out in relief of White in the 8th.
Playing center field for the New York Mets, number 56, Darren Bragg.
Now the Phillies are number 1 in the majors, 12 one-run wins this year. They'd like to get a little bit more, make a comfortable gap. To do that, they'll have to get to John Franco. 21st appearance of the season for the Met left-hander. All right, what kind of things are you thinking about in the dugout during a game like this? You're not going to be out there. You're not going to be pitching. It's just tough to endure.
Well, it has been long at times, but you might be moving your dinner reservation right about now to back a half hour. Somewhere in Manhattan, you were thinking about going to your favorite Italian restaurant. You might be calling the owner right now and saying, we need to move that back a little bit. Probably having one of the clubhouse kids doing it.
Little defensive wheel going on. Ordonez hoping to cover third if Ventura had a streak in. Travis Lee, the hitter. Remember, he replaced Jordan defensively at first base in the 7th.
Well, he's really turned his career around here with Philadelphia, getting a fresh start with manager Larry Boa. Imagine Larry Boa getting the job in Philadelphia, going out to Arizona, spending a couple days with Travis Lee, really working on his confidence, telling him he's got a fresh slate with him, really welcoming him to the team. That conversation there and everything else that Larry's been doing with him has really paid off.
Little flare. Infield fly as Alfonso puts it away. How much Lee could do with that? He was jammed by
The
John
catcher,
Franco.
number 4, Gary Bennett.
Well, it wasn't too bad of a matchup for Travis. He's hitting in the high 200s off of left-handers, but John Franco made a good pitch on a fastball inside, got him jammed, and again, what the Mets bullpen is looking for right here to keep him close, give him a shot these last couple innings.
Real unsung hero of the game has been Gary Bennett. Phillies catcher kept Randy Wolf in check, helped him through the really tough innings, and a sac fly as well, scoring Pat Burrell in the 6th, and that's the go-ahead run.
Well, that fastball right there by John Franco really sets up his out pitch, which is the fastball in, but more importantly, it's his changeup that acts like a screwball. Now, right out of his hand, the ball can look like that fastball away, and the screwball action on the changeup will go down and away from Gary Bennett.
Rowland and Burrell aboard here. Flew out to right in the 2nd, single to left in the 4th inning, and that sac fly in the 6th. What he hopes stands as the game-winning RBI. There's the breaking ball, 1-2.
Well, there's that changeup. Screwball action going straight down. Sometimes it'll look like a slider, but to somebody who's played with John Franco and played against him for a long time, that is his changeup, which looks like a screwball, and the bottom just drops out of it. And that was set up very nicely by the first pitch fastball for a strike, and then the second pitch fastball away. Right here, I think he's got Gary Bennett in his back pocket.
The head 1-2 on the Phil's catcher.
A lot of pitchers start with grips at the beginning of their windup. Their most awkward grip they'll start with. And John Franco does that. He starts with his changeup grip, the most awkward and hard grip to get to, so he doesn't give that away when he comes up into his glove. And now you can see he's kept that grip, and this will be a changeup.
Waved out and missed by Bennett. Not foul tip. Piazza lost the handle, but plainly missed.
The second
Big
baseman, number
strikeout
13,
from
Tomas
Franco.
Perez.
And there are 2 down in the 8th.
And what we're talking about on those pitches, as far as grips, you can see in there, he started with that behind his leg, the changeup grip, and this ball cuts a little bit. He comes around. It doesn't have that screwball action, but it still was down there around 82 miles an hour, and it was a good changeup off that 90-mile-an-hour fastball. But the reason they start with that awkward grip behind him is because any jiggling of the glove when they go for the awkward grip inside there can give away to the batter what pitch is coming. So you'll see young pitchers that start with a fastball grip behind them, and then they have to jiggle to get to their change or their split finger or some other pitch. It gives away in their gloves, and then the hitters pick up on that, and they start reading the pitches, and they know what's coming before the ball's even thrown.
A lot of gamesmanship going on out there. Never ends. Game within a game, right? So far, Tomas Perez has not looked good against Franco. Been badly fooled by 2 pitches. One that short hopped the plate by a foot or so. And not close on that. He's down to the count 0-2. Rowland at second base. Pat Burrell at first.
0-2, he hasn't even sniffed the changeup. Do you stay with it, or do you try and deke him a little bit and go to something else? See what Johnny does.
Got him. Tomas Perez overmatched by Franco there. Didn't come close. Keeps this a 1-run game. Great relief from John Franco. Home 8th, and Desi Relaford will be the pinch hitter. Played second base yesterday with Alfonso out of the Met lineup. He has played well, at times challenging Ray Ordonez for a little time at shortstop. 313 average would be well beyond what Ordonez can hit. First ball hitting against Metallico, and he quickly lines out to Glanville. Coming up next here on ESPN2, we continue our Memorial Day bonanza of games. Rockies and Dodgers. Another pinch hitter for the Mets. This time it's Lenny Harris. Big hero yesterday in the win over the Marlins. He's 8 for 25 this year as a pinch hitter.
What do you think the 8th inning? What's Bobby Valentine doing, using all his pinch hitters up now? But this is the bottom of the order. This is the guys that he would hit for. He's got the top of the order coming up next inning if nothing gets started. He's not going to hit for Agbayani, Alfonso, Piazza, or Azil, or Ventura. So this is the part of the order at the end of the game that if he is going to use his bench, Lenny Harris being one of the best pinch hitters of all time, he's getting up there.
138 all-time pinch hits, Orel. That's 4th in history. Manny Mota's the leader with 150. And he said after the big hit yesterday, he's really been heading to the plate, a lot more aggressive. Anything close to the dish, he's hacking. 4 hits in his last 5 pinch hit appearances. Not bad.
Also one of the all-time great guys. I mean, what a sense of humor and what a guy to have around. He's always on the bench. You know, he's not getting in many games until the pinch hitting time, but on the bench, he's always stirring it up. He's always making a joke. He's always flashing signs or goofing around with somebody on the opposing bench, trying to distract him. Played with a lot of teams and a lot of guys. He's got a lot of friends in baseball.
In this case, he's trying to ignite the Mets. Late game rally going, trailing by 1. And Harris knows exactly what his role is. He said, hey, I signed to be a pinch hitter, not an everyday player.
Well, he's not going to hurt you in the field. You know, he's not the kind of guy that only carries a bat out to the bench. He's got a glove and he can use it.
Here he uses the bat to draw the base on balls with 1 down in the 8th against Metallico. Tying run aboard. Larry Bowa's heading out. Game recap to this point, first inning. That's when Abreu was able to single in Jimmy Rollins from third base after Rollins had doubled. Mets had a lot of threats in this game in the 4th and 5th inning, able to plate their 2 runs in the 4th. And then Glanville went deep with his 8th home run in the 5th inning. Shinjo, big trouble against the drive from Pat Burrell, went over his head, scored a triple. He scored on Bennett's sac fly. So the game summary, Phil's the 1-run lead. They've been threatening all game as well. And Wolf still stands to be the winner despite a rocky outing to say the least, but he's on the winning side.
Well, he did a good job battling for his team, and he very easily could have gotten a loss, and the Mets would have gotten a key hit. They were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, have not come through in this game at all. Randy Wolf could be the beneficiary of that lack of production by the Mets.
To the bench we go again for the Mets and Bobby Valentine. Here's Darren Bragg. Quick throw to first. Harris is back, not by much. Good move. Lee applying the tag to shade late. Bragg brought up from AAA Norfolk when Alex Escobar was sent down. Jay Payton still a few weeks away, returning from the hamstring injury. The second game after the call for Bragg had 4 RBIs. That's where he stands right now. 295 hitter coming in. Breaking ball misses.
Well, he came up out of the minors swinging a pretty hot bat, hitting 6 of his first 11 games. Most of the time he's going to be strictly used off the bench. But if he starts swinging a hot shillelagh, he'll get in there. Because they are looking for offense here in New York.
Desperate. They hit well with the Tides. AAA, 333 in 33 games. So he's got a little pop. Takes that one low and inside. Suddenly it's 2-0 on Darren Bragg. Called up May 16th from Norfolk. Came into spring training with a shot to win a job on the Met roster, but had some hamstring and groin problems. down in the Grapefruit League. Plenty of activity. Now Cormier. 2 Philly relievers up. Righty-lefty tandem getting ready. Missed. 3-0 on Darren Bragg.
Well, this has been one of the knocks on Ricky Patalica, that he has a tendency to lose his release point, especially in his second inning of work. I don't know if it's a concentration problem or a fatigue problem or what it is, but one of the reasons he's been moved in and out of the closer role in different ball clubs is because of his control problems.
3-0 here. Finds the range.
Well, I haven't been right yet on when Bobby Valentine was going to send the runners today. I'm not about to guess now, other than to tell you that 3-1 is a running situation with 1 out, with a left-handed hitter up, and with Lenny Harris on first. We will see.
Generically speaking.
Yes.
Stay safe. You should be a politician someday.
Well, he went. How's that for color? Perfect. He went.
Harris was in motion, in fact. Foul back by Bragg. So it's a full count. We'll see what Bobby's got up his sleeve now.
Well, Lenny Harris can still run. I know he's getting up there in age and mostly a pinch hitter. One of the best pinch hitters we talked about in all time. I'll tell you, you try and think along with Bobby V. I'm not sure anybody's smart enough to think with that guy. He is one of the smartest baseball minds around.
A little bit of debris swirling about the yard here, Che.
One of the fun things about playing for Bobby Valentine when I did in '99 was to go in and off after the game into his office and talk about the game. You know, thinking that maybe someday I'd want to be a pitching coach, maybe a manager, or get into baseball, not knowing that I would be here, but actually dissecting the game with him.
Harris on the move. Bragg fouls it back. We're glad you're here with us.
Well, it's kind of fun. Up here, you're not really wrong. You just keep guessing. Down there, they have to. Well, that was a good year, 1999, the wild card. We had an awful lot of fun here. Piazza was amazing that year. Alfonso, remember him taking Randy Johnson deep in a playoff game. And the fans here in New York were just unbelievable. Talk about
home
excitement.
Run.
Oh, yeah.
D-back series, that was fun.
The grand slam that turned into a single.
Harris going, throw is high. Doesn't matter anyway, it was a walk. So Bragg aboard, draws the base on balls. And the Mets have something going here in the 8th.
Well, we're going to see if the walks that the Phillies have been giving up all day are going to finally come back to haunt them. Randy Wolf went through 2 innings, threw about 65 pitches, walked about 5 or 6 batters, and the Mets didn't capitalize at all. And now here we got back-to-back walks in the 8th by Patalica. We'll see if Benny Agbayani can start to hit with runners in scoring position, something that his Mets teammates have not been doing all day.
Not at all, especially in the 4th and 5th, when they had ample opportunity to blow this game wide open. Benny 1 for 3, that single. Ripped off the wall in deep left. Long single. He was hit so hard. We're back in the 3rd. Harris aboard, Bragg aboard. And Patalica cannot find the strike zone.
You know, that pitch right there, it sure looked like Ricky Patalica thinks he's aiming the ball. At least watch his follow through after he goes. He kind of just is kind of pointing in there. He's kind of hoping. He's looking up, kind of surveying the situation. Got to just cut it loose and let it happen.
Murder stay put. Agbayani waves and misses.
That's a little better aggressiveness by Patalica right there. Really threw that pitch, had some sharp late action. You start trying to aim the ball and you start releasing the ball early around where your head is. The ball comes out of your hand, it's flat, there's no late break on it, You let it go and you get some good extension. You're good and aggressive. You're letting the ball go out there by your front landing foot. That's when the ball is late and explodes on the hitter.
Pinch hitters aboard here in Agbayani. Falls behind 1-2. Coming in, Batalco just 8 walks compared to 24 strikeouts. So control not a big issue, but here in the 8th, he's had his problem.
Well, Benny's really letting him off the hook. He's walked these 2 guys to set this table, and there hasn't been a strike thrown here in this at bat. It counts 1 and 2, but it's really been 3 balls. It's kind of hard when the offense is struggling. Everybody wants to do it and get the team going, but you still got to wait for the situation. You got to wait for the pitch.
1-2.
Benny usually a very selective hitter. One of the reasons that Bobby Valentine could put him at the top of the order. He's got a great on-base percentage. Not the fastest guy in the world. Not the body type for a leadoff hitter. But his on-base percentage and his runs scored are very, very good. And in this situation, Bobby likes him up there in an RBI situation. That discipline should really work to his favor. But so far, 3 of the 4 pitches he's been chasing.
Good numbers. Men in scoring position. Foul back.
Well, Batalka started him off with a fastball, then with 2 sliders low and away that Benny chased. Got the count to 1 and 2, and now here comes the fastball in that gets a foul ball on. I got to believe he's going to the slider low and away right here to see if Benny can be disciplined or undisciplined, which would be in Ricky's favor.
3 straight pinch hitters for the Mets have yielded 2 walks. Runners at first and second for Agbayani. We may have another walk as Batalco runs the count full to the Met left fielder. Here in the home 8th, the fans begin to respond. More than 33,000 strong today.
Well, let's see if he goes fastball, worrying about the walk, or slider to try and get himself out of the inning. If he can make that slider look like a strike out of his hand and make it break late, I think he's got a good opportunity to get him out.
Harrison Bragg will be in motion. Harris is grounded toward Rowan at third. A race to the bag. Got him at third. Throw to first. The lead is in time. What a double play by Scott Rowan at third base. Scored 5-3, and the Mets rally over. Harris shaking up a bit. It's still a 3-2 game.
Bob Stevens in your Baseball Tonight studios. Big Mac's Memorial Day return is a blast in St. Louis. Bottom of the 6th, second of the year, number 556 of his career, made it 2-0 in favor of the Reds. Albert Pujols followed with a solo shot to put the Cardinals up 3-0 in the top of the 8th. You see him climbing the ladder, chasing Reggie. Cubs and Reds. Cubbies trying to stay even with the Cards. They're even at 6-6 in the bottom of the 10th. Dave?
All right, Bob, busy day in the big leagues. Here it's 3-2. Heading to the top of the 9th. Phils have a lead. Lots of defensive switches to tell you about. Gerard Riggin just called up from AAA Norfolk. Is into the lineup. He'll be on the mound here. His 8th appearance of the season. He has a Relaford. He was a pinch hitter in that last inning. He goes to short. Timo Perez did not pinch hit, but Timo is the right fielder, with McEwing being pinch hit for in that last inning. And Darren Bragg will stay in center field after his double switch, and the 2 skippers have a lot to talk about. Got that all straight?
I've got it all straight. I'm just wondering if those guys do, but they've got other things to worry about, like personalities and calling plays and making sure that the lineups are all in order. Sure, Bobby V is explaining it to both of them, Angel and Larry, what he's doing, where everybody is.
When we're finished up here at Shea, we're going out for the Rockies-Dodgers here on ESPN2 as our coverage continues. Big day. Major League Baseball. You're on ESPN2 over on ESPN Memorial Day. You love baseball, the place to be. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Big Mac didn't take very long to come back and make an impact already.
So busy day today. How about Wednesday night baseball? Game 2 of the Yankees-Red Sox series, a rematch from last week. Mike Mussina goes up against Pedro. Mussina won Thursday 2-1, giving Martinez his first loss of the year. Regional action also has the Indians and the Tigers. That was when Pedro guaranteed the 20 wins. He said, I will do it. We'll see. He backs Giants as well. Barry Bonds, 11 homers in his last 10 games. Wow, 26 for the year. For more coverage, log on to ESPN.com. It's all there for you.
I think Barry's success got Big Mac healthy. So this guy's coming after me. I'm going to get back in there.
Perhaps. Here's Rob Ducey, the pinch hitter. 286 this year. Both managers using a lot of the dugout today. And bullpen for that matter. Riggin, the third time he's been called up this year from AAA Norfolk. When Dottie Wall went on the DL yesterday prior to the game with the Marlins for the shoulder strain, Wall 0-3 with a 5.73 ERA. So back comes Riggin. His first stint, 7 games, just under a 5 earned run average. 4 saves at AAA.
Here's a guy 26 years old, still trying to really make a dent in the big leagues. He's always had pretty good stuff and a live arm, just needs to get it under control. And this year so far he's done a real good job. He's striking out more than a man per inning, and there's an ugly lineup card.
Who's left?
Not much.
Top foul by Rob Ducey. Todd Pratt. That's it.
On the Phillies side, you got Anderson and Estrada. That's it. 2 guys over there, 1 guy on the Mets side. Pretty soon it's a pickup game.
1-2 to Ducey. Got him.
Center fielder, number 6, Doug Glanville.
You know, most left-handed hitters are good low fastball hitters, and most of them are not good high fastball hitters. And here you see throwing a ball up around his hands, drop the hands slightly, and 91 miles an hour is just too much to catch up to.
And Gary Bennett, the catcher, has been a big hero for the Phils with the things he's done, both behind the plate and the sac fly. Doug Glanville also has been a big problem for New York. Home run to left. It really got into the jet stream and carried over the head of Agbayani. Cleared the wall by about 10 feet. Wasn't even close. Run single in the 7th as well.
It's a good sign when a guy hits a home run. He's your leadoff hitter, and then he has the head on his shoulders properly. He comes back with a bunt hit. He doesn't get out of his game. You know, a lot of guys, a lot of leadoff hitters, a lot of young guys, a lot of small guys that all of a sudden hit a home run and think, oh, I'm a home run hitter, and really get out of their game. But he went right back into his game and got the bunt hit.
Rip foul.
A lot of managers in the big leagues hate to see their leadoff guys hit home runs, especially in games that don't mean anything. Today, it's great to see a Doug Glanville for Larry Bowa hit a home run. But they don't like to see those leadoff hitters hit home runs because they don't want to take that risk of them getting out of their game and hitting the ball on the ground and using their wheels.
Tries to hold up. Hunter Windelstedt says he did.
Good hard slider right there. Glanville doing a good job laying off. We know he's seeing the ball well. The bunt hit, deadening it, and a home run. So it's going to take a quality pitch to get him out.
2-2 delivery. Grounded toward Ordonez at short. Make that Relaford, who is replacing Ray Ordonez, and he makes a nice play. Ordonez-like. Very smooth out there at shortstop. 2 down.
Great job charging this ball. Got a good break off the bat on this slider. Desi does a great job charging it. You see he gets a good first step and he keeps coming. Doesn't stop his momentum. For you kids there at home, he didn't pick the ball up and then just stop and try and plan. He kept his momentum, which was already started towards first base because he rounded the ball. Good, strong, off-balance throw. Got him. Whenever you're charging the ball there at home, playing Little League or even high school, when you get to the ball, you don't want to stop your momentum. You want to catch and keep going right through it. Take that momentum right over to where you're throwing the ball.
Jimmy Rollins, the rookie, was charging to that towards center. Bragg's got some room. Rollins switched around to the left side for this at-bat of the 9th. Last chance for the Mets coming up. They are down by 1. Memorial Day baseball here on ESPN2 from Shea. games. All 6 have been from the come-from-behind variety. That's what they're going to need here today. And it won't be easy. Facing the runner-up to the top save man in the National League. Jose Mesa just one behind the Dodgers. Jeff Shaw, 14 saves. Coming into this outing today, trying to preserve a 3-2 lead.
Well, Jose Mesa has outstanding stuff. And the Mets do need to think big. They need just 2 runs. They don't need that much.
Number 13.
But Jose featuring a fastball in the mid-90s and a very, very hard slider. You may remember him from the mid and early 90s with the Cleveland Indians and their playoff runs. Cleveland missing the playoffs last year for the first time in a long time. But Jose right in the middle of that mix is an outstanding closer, and then went off to Seattle. Didn't have his good fortune there in Seattle. Kind of got roughed up every 5th or 6th outing and really lost favor out there. And his free agent signing here in Philadelphia has filled in admirably and really at the top of his game. And early in the year, this is one of the guys Larry Bowa pulled out in the middle of a count. It really showed that we're about business and business right now, because we need to win and build our confidence, and that confidence is going. And 3 up, 3 down here in the 9th for Jose Mesa will go a long way for the Philadelphia Phillies, working their way up that barometer of playing these teams that they really think are the class of the division, which is the New York Mets and then the Atlanta Braves.
Mesa said of that early season incident, it had never happened before in his career. He hopes it'll never happen again. Yanked in a save situation in the middle of a count. He wasn't in huge trouble. Larry Bowa wanted to make a statement very early that unless you perform, you're going to get out of there. Already up in the count. Ricardo Alfonso leading things off home night. Last chance for the Mets.
Bobby Valentine's already emptied his bench because he's not going to use any pinch hitters this inning.
Foul back.
You know, you're really glad when a guy like Jose Mesa says that's the last time I want that to happen in my career. Those aren't arguing words. That's not him going nose to nose with his manager Larry Bowa. That is him saying, all right, I get the message, and this is what I want to do. I want to perform. I want to rise up to the task. I'll take the challenge. And he has taken the challenge since that time. Responded with the 14 saves. Got more than a strikeout an inning that he's been out there, and he's throwing strikes here again today.
Alfonso 0 for 4 so far. Didn't miss by much. Struck out swinging in the 3rd against Randy Wolf, the Phil starter. Popped out to 2nd. Flew out deep to center, flew out to left. One and 2 to start the night.
You see that blue glove of Jose Mesa? He's got a road glove and a home glove. I just had one glove, one that felt comfortable. That was my glove. When it stayed the right weight, didn't get enough water on it, or the leather didn't stretch out. But this guy, he changes gloves home and road. I don't know if it's a fashion statement or a luck statement, but
there's a bit of blue to match in the star with the Phillies.
Barely.
Front of the
There's
jersey,
some
right?
rules about that, but right now, we're not reading that part.
Misses to even up the count at 2 and 2.
A lot of different rules about the glove you wear. All one color. No white on the glove when you play in the field, so it doesn't distract the umpire when he's trying to make a call on a catch ball or a trap ball. They like to keep the colors consistent with the pitchers, so it doesn't distract the hitters.
Down goes Alfonso. Let's go back to Bob Stevens in the studio.
Thanks, Dave. While the Phillies try to pad their lead in the East, Dodgers try to keep pace in the West. Bottom of the 1st against the Rockies. Sean Green hits this laser off Pedro Estacio deep into the right center field corner. Ground rule double scores Marquise Grissom. 1-0 Dodgers as they look for their 5th straight win. Back to Dave and Orel.
All right, Bob, thanks. We'll get you out there to that game as soon as we wrap up business here at Shea. Mike Piazza and the Mets, of course, have other ideas. Couple singles for Mike. Average climbs to 245. Remember yesterday against Dan Maselli of the Marlins. Late in the game, that was in the 8th to lead it off. He went deep to center. His 11th homer of the year.
I tell you, the Mets batters have gone right up the scale with the velocity. Start with Randy Wolf in the high 80s. Metallica then took him to 91, and Jose Mesa's last pitch against Edgardo Alfano was 95.
Ripped. Way back to left. Burrow looks up. Long gone. This one wasn't a center. This one was to deep left field. A towering rocket of a home run by Mike Piazza. And we are tied.
Number 9, Todd Zeile.
Just the second home run that Mesa surrendered all year.
Well, Mike Piazza, they're loving that smile here in New York. Last night, put him within 1 run with a late 8th inning home run against the Marlins. And here responds with a 9th inning home run to tie it up. That's the kind of offensive leadership these Mets need. They say when he hits one, they know the monster is out of the cage. It puts electricity and energy in everybody in that bench.
That was a towering home run.
That was a no-doubter.
No question. Now it's Zeile. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. Todd walked and doubled in the 4th and 5th respectively. 1 for 3. Now before the inning started, we told you about the come from behind Mets. It's been one of their characteristics all year. This one ripped to center. Glanville makes a great diving catch.
I tell you, 94-mile-an-hour fastball hit by Mike Piazza. He's making good swings all day. He got on top of a high fastball early in the game. This one, he gets slightly underneath. But with the wind blowing out to left, which this ball did not need, Michael knew he brought his team back to even. Mesa knew as soon as the ball was hit, it's probably going to be out of here, and it is not a lot of fun when you're standing on that circle in the middle of the field.
So Randy Wolf, who pitched himself out of so many jams throughout the middle portions of the game in the 4th and 5th, loses a chance for a victory. Now it's Mesa's game, at least for the moment. Here's Ventura. 2 down in the 9th. Tapper toward Lee. Moves to his right well. Mesa covers no problem. But Mike Piazza has tied this game up in the home 9th. Mesa's 2nd homer surrendered all year. Piazza's 12th tater of the season.
Gomes might be in this game. He's still getting loose down there in the bullpen. Benny Agbayani and Edgardo Alfonso, 2 righties on deck and in the hole.
Caught him looking. Strike 3 call, and Cormier does notch his first save of the year in a wild one from Shea. Almost 4 hours in length. The Phillies take the Mets to opening up a 3-game series in style in 10. 31st win of the year, tops of the National League. For the Phils, for Orel Hershiser, the entire crew, it's Dave Ryan saying so long from New York. Let's go to L.A. Dan Shulman, Rick Sutcliffe.